God, Frisk, it is so fucking hard to DM and not say anything.
I know.
It's the worst.
I hope you guys end up there eventually for a lot of reasons. But there's just a lot of things I'm excited about.
Hoping this campaign's over, we do like a post campaign. I don't know. Ask the DM whatever questions you have.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if those could like ruin future campaigns potentially.
Maybe. I mean, if it was something that I was planning on picking up later, then I probably wouldn't. Or if it's, I mean, you're a DM, you know that sometimes you just fake shit. So some of it I will just have to lie about.
Of course.
I have been pleasantly surprised by how little I've had to fake. But there have definitely been a few things so far. I was very prepared to fake things with Nomad, but Nomad has been predictable-ish so far.
I'm glad.
Anyway, we got a small group tonight. It might be a short session. But I know we left off right in the middle of kind of a big climax, or not climax, cliffhanger. So I figured we'd go for a little bit. Probably do just like a tiny bit of this exploring and maybe a battle or something, whatever you guys find down there. And we'll see about either wrapping up short, or if people hop on and they're feeling it, we can keep going. But anyway, just a fair warning, this might be a short session. When we left off, you guys had just done a little bit more exploring. You guys had a weird encounter where you kind of pieced together the soul of Samson Tomarello in a weird rift that was formed inside the temple when you brought his bones towards the egg. And then when you returned to the temple, the soul seemed to kind of like split into pieces once again, and you saw several streaks of energy as it kind of like split in multiple directions. A lot of them went into the egg, and I should probably drag you over to the map. But one of them went over into this room, where it seemed to form a mask that you guys talked to, along with a handful of others. Be right back, just a second. And then a couple others, went down into these stairwells that are kind of sitting behind these pits of hot coals. And I believe the plan was to go down and see if you could find them, and that's where we'll pick up. I did want to mention there was one thing that I forgot to do last week when you guys were searching the library. There was one more book that you found, and I already posted it over on Telegram, but just to make it official here, you did find this book, which Ace had to spend a little bit of time unlocking. It had a little padlock on it, nothing terribly crazy, but it did have a little bit of burn damage, which is what made it difficult.
This makes sense, and this helps us find out a lot more about these masks.
Yeah, absolutely. This is critical information. And as I mentioned in the Telegram, how did all like 8 of these people keep saying that they learned from the previous person's life without any of them learning a goddamn thing from the previous person's life?
I think they were literally just copying the end of everyone because it was tradition.
Yeah, but like they all said I learned from his life, and then all made the exact same mistakes over and over.
Did they?
Or at least that's how I think it went.
That's fair. Okay.
It seems like they died from different reasons, at least.
Yeah, but they all
died.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. We don't know. There's so many unknowns still.
Yeah, some of these are like betrayals, though.
Yeah, one of them was the stillborn dragon. It looks like. It's like it says like dragon with still stones that's walking or something. Just closed it.
Threw a rock at it? What? You know?
Trait does want to remind us from Telegram that people do die when they're killed.
Thank you, Trait.
Okay. Getting over these coals for a couple of you is very easy. Ace and Moat and Vasu are just made of fire, so it doesn't phase them at all. Yeah, what's up, Norda?
Sorry, real quick. As Moat is like going to rush over those coals, Nordo kind of like rushes up behind him and goes to stop him, but realizes he should pull his hand back and not get burnt. And he says, "Moat, stop! Hold on, just wait a second. You just please stop. We need to slow down and think this through."
Think what through? The rest of them's down there. We got to finish what we came here to do.
Nordo looks like nervous, like borderline panicked almost. And he looks from you back to that room with all the masks in it and says, "Do you not see what's going on here? All them people back there, stuck inside a mask, barely even remember what the names is, all babbling about some purpose them supposed to fulfill. It's the way it looks to me is each and every one of them died trying to do exactly what you're fixing to do.
We can't know that until we finish what we started, or at least see what's down there. We don't know that's what happened to them.
Mo, we need to leave right now. We need to get the hell out of here before this goes any further than it already has. If it ain't too late already. We need to go talk to Renner and figure out what the hell's really going on here. He knows something he ain't telling you. You know it and I know it.
You know I can't do that. This is what I left my family to do. And now I'm here, like, a couple feet away from being done. And you want me to just turn around?
Listen, I know how important this is to you, but there ain't nothing down there worth losing your life for. It's certainly not worth ending up like one of them masks trapped inside your father's axe for all the rest of the time. I mean, you're talking about leaving your family, and none of them people back there even remember who their family is. If you go through with this, there's a good chance you never see any of them again. Your father, your mother, Oriana, Rieta. I can't lose you in here, Moat. We need to go before it's too late. Whatever's down there, if it's waited for all these years, it can wait a little longer until we know. Wait seems to me is you got tricked. You got duped into coming here, and we need to figure out what's really going on.
Moat kind of just pauses for a second and walks back over off the coals where you can, like, stand face to face. Look, there might be some truth in what you're saying, I get it. At the very least, I have to go down there and see what is down there. I have to know. And I'd like it if you were with me, but I understand if you can't.
Norda sort of paces from one foot to another for a second and looks from you to the egg to the stairs. If you're going through with this, Moat, then you know I'm going with you. But you gotta understand, if this place, or if that thing, and he like points at the egg with his axe, tries to take you away from me, whether it's your big destiny or not, I'll do everything in my power to stop it.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that then.
I sure hope so.
You worry too much, Nordo. Come on. Let's just finish this.
You love Void's done? I feel myself starting to cool off over here. Let's go.
Nordo says nothing more and looks sort of warily at that phoenix egg. And then probably tries to follow Moat before realizing that there's like holes in the way.
Yep, so the stairs themselves are just kind of stone, but you'd need to, like, there'd be 3 or 4 good solid steps, even taking a wide stride across the hot coals. Then you can just go for it if you want. You're a pretty tough guy. But if you have a clever plan, now's the time to let me know.
Do the stairs themselves look like they're like going to be hot to the touch?
They are kind of just a dark stone. You imagine they probably would be. Like, you know how a fire pit works. The bricks next to a fire tend to be hot to the touch, too. Probably. Definitely not as hot as the coals themselves, but possibly.
Gently, Nomad just says physical affirmation. There's a pause, and then he puts his hand on Nordo's shoulder. I forgot to do the actual physical part, but I am learning. That being said, while we are here, nothing will happen to Moat.
Just make sure of it, Nomad. I've heard him say more than once that he thinks he can't die. And I know he's special. I know the gods done picked him out for this destiny. But I've seen the man bleed. He can die. So I'm counting on you to help me make sure that doesn't happen.
He simply nods. I will do everything in my power.
Nordo holds the axe in one hand and sort of holds his hand out over the coals and kind of focuses. I'm going to try this. I don't know to what extent coals count as earth, but to try to just kind of like move some of it out of the way and make it less difficult.
Yeah, I'm very earthy.
I don't know if coals qualify as earth or not.
Not. I mean, so like, in the sense that dirt is literally just all sorts of carbon-based life that has been ground up into dirt, sort of, but no, not really. No, coal is still. Well, it would depend on if it's coal or charcoal. You know what? Give me a luck check. I mean, even coal is still just carbon-based life, but it's kind of a rock. No, I'm gonna say it doesn't really react at all. It just doesn't seem to be closely tied enough to the concept of stone or dirt that you're able to manipulate it.
Okay. Well, it was the old-fashioned way. And I'm just gonna like jump across the coals and onto the stairs and hope it doesn't burn too bad.
All right, give me an athletics check.
Yeah.
You've got what is your strength? I always forget if Nordo's shitty strength in addition to shitty con.
No, it's
Strength.
it's strong. He's got 20.
Oh, that's fine. That's plenty. Okay. You take a
strong guy.
you take a running leap, and you basically just kind of bypass the coals entirely, and you land with a thud on the stairs, kind of using your monk balance to catch yourself, doing a little bit of light parkour. And when you land, it's hot, it's unpleasant. It's not enough to do like physical damage to your body. You don't take any points of damage or anything like that. But it is uncomfortable. You're kind of like dancing there, trying not to keep your foot on any surface for too long. You got to kind of like jog in place. You do notice that as you look down, it seems to get shadier and rapidly cooler below you as you get away from all these coals.
In that case, I will just keep following those.
All right. Elise will do the same thing. She's also a sturdy girl. She can jump it without any problems. Valna.
I look at Valna and I ask, like, will she follow us?
Meta.
We're not there before.
Meta, I think you might need a little bit of help, and in character, I do just want to make sure that Moat is okay in all this, and also I'm a little curious to see what's going on in here.
You genuinely care about him, it seems to me. This is the only reason why I trust you. For now.
She gives a bit of a weird smile, and she's like, don't read that much into it, that's weird, but...
That is all I do.
Sure, okay.
Reading.
She'll try to...
People.
She'll try to take a jump. Oh no, Valna.
Nomad assists her if that's what she needs.
Do you... How?
By physically lifting her if need be. Like, he can fly.
Okay, that's fair. I'll let her re-roll it. That's okay. I'm gonna say she's still, like, it's an awkward landing. She brushes. She's gonna take a little bit of damage. Not as bad as
She's
if she
at
did
least,
that one.
like...
Oh, she's
yeah.
okay. She takes a little bit.
The ankles. They are prone to breaking.
Alright. Everybody else is able to make their way down just fine. And as you descend down these stairs, you find yourself in a much cooler hallway. And Moat, with your lantern out, it is almost entirely dark except for the light provided by your lantern. But you do see that it eventually comes to an intersection. You can see that the hallway continues off in front of you, presumably connecting to the other stairwell on the other side here. That's what it looks like anyway. But then there is a hallway that proceeds to the north, kind of halfway between the two. And then there is writing. There's script in Primordial along the wall behind you. And while I'm pulling over to the map, the script reads, within these crypts lie lives and lessons. We're reborn not into ignorance, but informed. Learn from the past, repeat not the mistakes within. And let me make sure this is all good. This puts you here, over on the left side here. You do see that coming from the hallway to your left, there's just a little bit of a faint light. Kind of just a soft red glow.
Okay. I'll pause for a second and read over the script, and then once everybody is in the stairwell safely, I'll start heading that way.
Alright, as you step in, you find yourself in a large chamber. And you can see that about halfway through this chamber, one on the left and one on the right, there are kind of just almost like divider walls, but they appear to be monuments or placards of some sort. And at the center of each one is a relief sculpture of what appears to be a person. On the right, you can see that there is a resplendent paladin of some sort with a sword and a shield. You can see that it's a tiefling, kind of like you, but his horns just kind of go straight up. And then on the left, you can see that there is a human man with a longbow, and he just kind of appears to be just standing in sort of a heroic pose. They both definitely look like they were made to kind of be reminders or regale the tales of these people. They're both posed very heroically. It looks like some sort of memorial. You also see in the corners of this room that there are 4 bright orange crystals that kind of illuminate like torches, but they give off a strong hum of energy. You can practically hear the magic pouring off of them, as well as a little bit of heat. And then finally, there's 2 more things. At the very back of the room, you can see that there is a relief sculpture of a dragon with curling wave-like wings, and there's a soft blue light that shines off of it. And then in the very center of the room, there is a stairwell that seems to just go down right in the middle of the room like a spiral. But that stairwell is currently filled with bright blue and white flames.
Oh boy. Do the reliefs look like forever ago when I had the dream while Mr. White was attacking? Do they look like the same figures, or...
Give me investigation or perception. Investigation is probably going to get you slightly better results if there's not a huge stat difference. But they would both work. With a 7... with a 7, you don't really recognize the one on the left. The one on the right does actually look kind of familiar to you. You didn't really get a super good look at his face, it was obscured. But you do remember seeing a tiefling with a sword and a shield that had these kind of prominent straight up and down horns frozen in the ice.
Okay. Is there any writing?
As you approach, you don't see any writing, but it does seem to react to your presence. The eyes begin to glow. And as you approach, something pulls itself free from the carving. You can see that there is a skeleton, ghostly, just like the ones that you had seen before in the rift. And it kind of stands there and it looks at you. But you can also see that it is... let me double check my notes real quick. There's one more part to it. I want to make sure I get the right one. Meta, story-wise, yeah. Mechanically, not unless he... Oh, wait, yeah, Vasu's here. Yeah, just kidding. Yeah, he's here today. You do also see that the skeleton is smoking and billowing. This just kind of magical, almost like ectoplasm, but it's a gas, and it just kind of billows up, and it begins to swirl around him, and it kind of ebbs and flows back and forth like there's a current in the room. And as you approach and as it steps forward, it just kind of stands there, and it takes kind of a heroic stance, and it crosses its arms, and it says, "Why have you come to this place? Are you the next?"
That's a great question. I think so. I came to help rebirth the Phoenix, bring Sammy Tomarella's bones here.
I see. And it kind of looks over to the other side of the room at the other relief. It appears that you've been successful. I'm afraid the next step will not be so easy. And he kind of starts to look up at this point, and you can see that all of these gases that were billowing off of him like fire are almost entirely wicked free of the skeleton now. It's just the bones, and all these flames are beginning to pull almost entirely free until they form kind of a cloud above him. And you can see that it almost seems to like flash like there's lightning inside of it. And you can see that inside of this cloud there are shapes that start to emerge. Shapes of earthen elementals with giant fists slamming down on soldiers all around him. Volcanic explosions and crashing stones that kind of rail down around him like a meteor storm. It appears to be a scene of a battle, an uphill battle. And you actually see a tree that kind of flashes by in one of these visions that looks very familiar to the site that you investigated as you were approaching the Firebird's Roost.
Right.
This will
so
be...
you must be
Or go ahead.
Leighton then?
I am. Prominus Leighton. Or at least part of me. I am the memories, the knowledge that he once had. The rest of me, I assume that my personality remains upstairs, and unfortunately above me, well, that will be the difficult part. If I remember correctly, and it has been some time, you may wish to steel yourselves.
What happens? What is going to happen?
There are many ways to rebirth the Phoenix. One is through sacrifice, the other through reinvigoration. Normally this process would have been guided by the keepers, and at this point there's a loud crack. And you actually have to kind of duck, as forming out of this billowing smoke cloud above you comes what appears to be just like an entire boulder-sized rock that smashes against the ground over beside you. And it leaves little charred embers that continue to flame and burn there, as whatever this thing is begins to actually take real form. And you can also see that seething out of this memorial as well are more of these kind of smoke-like energy that's forming another cloud over here. The keepers, though, there's something wrong with them. They should be here. You shouldn't be here alone. They would normally shepherd all of this. But if you are alone, then you may have to do it in a more unpleasant way. Nice.
They were tricked, the keepers. The keys got taken from them. I mean, we can go get them if you want.
The keepers, are they here? Do they live here still?
No, they don't live here anymore. They live on the island. Do you remember the island?
I remember, yes, I do.
So the keepers lived in Firebird's Roost when you came? They didn't live on the island?
Both. They had some outside, and there's another crash of thunder. And you can also see now that strands of this smoke are beginning to emerge out towards these four fiery crystals, and they rise up into these almost twisted humanoid forms made of spiky obsidian. But there were some here, too. They guided my soul when I arrived, after I had been defeated on the volcano. They taught me a lot, and so did the other spirits within this place, the previous avatars. But something happened. I should be up there, not here. And it is at this point, in the middle of your conversation, that you see one of these fully formed humanoid figures begins to kind of rise up, and it draws these two sharp-bladed fists, and it begins to kind of rush towards you. And this will be initiative.
Well, I guess we're doing it, folks.
Did we kill these?
Look at the name. The overwhelming death of Paramenos Layton.
At the same time,
I can't tell if this is an anime subplot or a Lemony Snicket title.
forming in the center of all of these flames, which, by the way, Nordo and Moat, as you approach, and actually Nomad's close enough too, you would notice that these flames are frigid cold, and for Moat, it's actually probably very uncomfortable. Same for Vasu and Ace if he was here. It has been, yes. You've only spent about 2 hours investigating the library and whatnot. Actually, it's probably been a little bit longer because you had to go talk to the druids first. That would put it at about 4 hours, but that's still under 8. But you can see within forming within this fire is another dangerous threat. It appears to be a spitting image of a watery, whiskered dragon. Not too much unlike the avatar that was sent to you in the Mausoleum of Ash in that elevator fight. Although it seems to be dripping ice.
It's so sad.
Remember that one?
Yes, you could have, Vasu.
Yeah, could I have activated my cloak again?
Yes.
I think it's turned off by now because it's been more than an hour. It's only 10 minutes. It's a good time to have it on. Reminder, this is the third charge. And there's one left.
Also, I blatantly lied to you. There is text on this, and you actually can see that it is mirrored on both of them. And the text reads as follows.
In what language?
In Primordial. A hero shoulders not a lonely burden. We're only as strong and warm as the people we surround ourselves with. As your enemy comes to know you, they'll learn how to melt you. Do not merely embrace change, but coordinate it. I don't know why I keep... I'm organizing my notes differently for this dungeon, and I don't think it's working. I think I need to do it a different way. Or do it the old way.
Just have them numbered.
I've got them, like, split into categories, and I thought that that would be, like, super helpful, but it seems that I just keep missing, like, important, obvious shit.
Well, it sounds helpful, but, you know, hey, practice.
Alright.
It seems I will go, well, I go before them. How interesting.
Oh, hey, we do have a Gale. Perfect.
Yeah, it's Gale.
Hell yeah. Alright.
I'll do combat at least.
Perfect. That actually helps tremendously. Cool. Nordo, you're the first to react as this thing suddenly lets out this earthen, almost like a screech, but there's just this ashy fire like a blazing inferno that comes through with it. And the overwhelming death from the southeast starts to rush towards you and Moat. What would you like to do?
Okay. Is it clear that, like, besides that one, the other ones are also, like, hostile and intending to attack Moat, or are they all kind of docile at the moment?
Definitely seems like it. You can actually see that at the corner of the Ryujin's mouth, there's a glow like he's about to rear back and do some sort of a breath, perhaps, or at least a roar. And the other ones are just farther away, but they look like they're angry too.
Nordo will look to Moat, axe in both hands. Say, stay close to me. And he will step up to this big old Ryujin. As my bonus action, I will rage. There's no shout of blood and glory on this particular occasion. Just an overwhelming desire to protect Moat. That's bonus action. Action, I will attack. Recklessly, of course. Oh, hold on, let me put my rage damage in before I forget.
Uh, 30 slams in for 12 points of slashing damage.
And would a 25 have hit?
It would have, so that's another 5 on top of that.
Oh no, that's the disadvantage. With the advantage, that means he's knocked prone.
Oh, gotcha. What is this from?
Fell-handed.
Oh, right. Nice. Let me check
then...
if he is able to be knocked prone.
Right.
It does seem that he's immune to prone.
Okay, cool. And then a strength save unless he's also immune to restraint.
He is.
Cool. Should have attacked the other one. Second attack.
You feel this intense blistering cold at your knuckles as the axe passes through. Catches like you're hitting an elemental, like there's clearly some fluff there that comes rolling off of it.
Question. I can't remember if you've allowed this in the past or not. Can I hold like one attack of an attack action? Is that a...
Only if you hold the entire action.
Okay, so never mind. Alright, cool, just the second attack then.
Uh, 24 and 23 would do it, so that is 17 more, but no prone.
Great. And that is my action. My bonus action was to rage. And I will not move, so that's my turn.
Alright, that brings us to number 8. So the first thing that happens is he lets out one of these roars, and I need everyone within 30 feet to give me a wisdom saving throw as you feel this heat at the back of your mind. Nordo and Moat are safe. Does this thing go around? It does, it's sound-based, so that will also include all 3 of the people in the hallway. Nomad is fine, Gale is fine. Vasu suddenly feels this burning rage in the back of his mind.
Amy and Moat don't need to do it, is that right?
Yeah, you guys are out of range. I did not, I'll pull that up here in just a second.
Oh no, Elise.
Uh,
Why you're thrown so low?
Elise and Vasu are confused. And then... it is going to run over towards the closest person, which is going to be Nomad. And it whips out these fire-like blades that are kind of toothed with obsidian, like a whip blade. And these are all on Nomad.
He has half movement while in this aura.
Oh, shit. He can still reach, though. 18 crit 18?
18 misses.
The crit.
Fighter.
Oh,
Figured my sentinel action to attack him because he attacked an ally that was within 5 feet of me.
god damn it. It begins already. That crit does land for 31 total points of fire damage.
Half.
And then that third one misses, and then Vasu turns right the fuck around with a crit for 11
Hey.
points.
I'm resistant to fire with this cloak on. Is that 15 then?
Yeah, 15.
Gotcha.
Take on another 5 cold damage.
Not cold damage. Shit, are they weak?
Yeah.
No, he's not, unfortunately. But it does seem like fire would probably not be very good on him. Cold does full damage, though. Alright, that brings us to top right. This one is going to affect only Nordo and Moat. I need wisdom saving throws.
Is this a charm effect?
Let me double check.
How-
It's 21 with my sweet Moat bonus.
You're fine. And no, this is not a charm effect.
Okay.
You're both fine, though, as you are able to fight off this burning hatred. It is then going to step around here, and it's going to fire these whips at Moat, 3 of them. And while you were taking that damage, that brings us to Gale.
Takes no damage because he's on fire.
Oh, right. God damn it.
That is correct. Only one of them hit anyway.
Oh yeah, let's put fire on other people. Just
Yeah, I
a
don't want to
reminder.
make myself orange, but
Let me do that.
Just Vasu and Moat, right? And Ace, but he's not here, obviously.
Gale's gonna run over here and to cast a spell.
Ooh.
And I think it's doing the chill shield for the fire resistance.
Alright.
And it's a D10 for confusion, right?
Yes. I really should have, like, a confusion table. I think 9 is good. Yeah, he is totally fine.
So it's gonna run over here, bite this overwhelming death.
Oh my god, 30 is good for 7 point. Just crunches down on rock and bits go flying everywhere.
And if anything attacks Moat, the first attack is disadvantage, and
Okay.
they take 5 force damage for attacking.
Excellent. Alrighty. At the end of your turn, as this thing sees that Moat is not taking any damage from this fire, the overwhelming death up to the northeast is going to try to summon a fissure. There is a split in the ground beneath you, Moat, and I need a dexterity saving throw that threatens to engulf you by the ankles.
perfect. So that's a 17 with Shield Master.
Oh, you missed it by 1.
Damn it.
You are grappled by this fissure on the ground. And that'll bring us to number 10. Up here, there is... I think Gale might be in range. Let me check. Gale is just in range, so I need a wisdom saving throw from Gale as he lets out a roar. Gale is totally fine. He is going to come over this way, and from 15 feet, we'll try to whip Gale. "25, 22, 17. All of which you resist because of your shield.
All of those hit.
At the end of that guy's turn, the Lonely Death, the fusion, is going to use a legendary action to cause these kind of plates of ice to form all around. And those of you who are right next to it, Nordo and Gale, can feel the heat, the cold become even more overwhelming immediately next to this thing. And then the guy in the bottom right is going to let out his roar, and I need wisdom saving throws from, I think, like, all of these people. Yeah, everybody except for the folks in the hall. Basu's fine because you're already confused.
Good God, it's
Oh
12.
no, Nordo.
17 though, with Moat's help.
Yeah, 17 at least prevents you from becoming confused. Gale's fine, Moda's fine. And Nomad's fine. So Nordo, you have disadvantage on your next d20 roll. And then it is going to head over here, and these are all going to be on Nordo.
Advantage, because I attacked recklessly.
27, 24, 24.
Those will all hit.
Are you raging?
I am raging. So... math that for me.
$28 after resistance.
Cool. So 12 comes from temp, so 16.
Alright, that'll bring us to Vasu.
Confusion do again exactly?
So at the start of your turn, roll a
Also,
d10.
I am not on fire. I put myself out as soon.
Oh, right, yes, you mentioned that. Good call.
Oh.
So go ahead and roll a d10 to see what you have to do. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, and
That seems
also,
bad.
Toto can give me a repeated save against that confusion, by the way. Another wisdom save. With the number 1, you use all of your movement to move in a random direction, and you don't take an action. What a nightmare.
I don't have a choice to do an action.
Correct.
Like it just cool.
I will say,
A hero point for that.
well, what were you planning on doing? I'm curious.
I mean, I was gonna ask. I know it doesn't explicitly say like in the monk thing, like the stillness of mind ends. Like,
Okay. Yeah, that's
it
what I
ends
was curious
charm
about.
or frightened effects. I was gonna try to use an action to do that, and then fish for a hero point anyway, even if it didn't work. But,
Yeah. I'm into it.
know.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Because it's not explicitly allowed, give me a wisdom check to try to make it work.
This is the thing. Vasu normally has good wisdom, which is why I'm really upset that I rolled a fucking 7 on that wisdom save.
Yeah. I feel like this should work even though it's not written. Well, there's a DC on
It's a
this.
16 with me.
Is it okay with you?
It's a check though, not a save. But,
Oh, my bad.
Okay. Well, then let's compare it to this. Oh, they're actually not great. Here we go. Unfortunately, this effect is just not quite what you were trying to break yourself out of. And between that and the nat 1, this turn does go to waste. But you do get your hero point.
Cool.
That'll bring
I
us...
get a repeated save on this, right?
you do. You can repeat that wisdom saving throw. And so can Toto, if you didn't already. Okay, Toto's still in.
Fuck.
That one is a save, though, right? How much is it? Is that +5 from Moat?
Oh yeah.
Plus
Yes.
5 makes it 17.
Let me double check. I think that at least upgrades it to not confusion.
Yes, mine was 17 and was not confusion.
Okay, yeah, your confusion ends. You just have disadvantage on your next d20.
Cool. Do I have a bonus?
That
or
the wisdom save doesn't happen until the very end of your turn after you can take actions.
Okay.
So
But like in the confusion, do I have a bonus action or
yes, but the confusion makes it so you're not allowed to take it.
not even going into tunnel fighter stance at the end of my random movement?
Yep, correct.
Okay, that's fair.
All right,
I'm out.
that brings us to Moat.
I just look up at Vasu and I'm like, hey Vasu. I'll tug at my lug a little bit in this rift and look up at this icy, watery hell beast, and I just say, you're still not going to stop me. And I will use my bonus action to bring out the mantle. And I take out my axe. And then the head of the axe just kind of starts shining a little bit brighter in this like intense flaming white. And I will spend a charge to give it reach 10 for an hour. And I'm going to take some swings on this watery boy in front of me.
The watery boy is 15 feet away from you. You could do either of the rocky boys next to you.
Oh, is he? I'm looking at the fire underneath him. Ignore me. That's fine. I'll hit this guy down here then.
All right. 21 slams in for 12 points of slashing. He does ignore the fire. Oh, wait, he doesn't. He doesn't ignore shit.
Yep. And it's an extra 5 fire on that for mantle. And I'll go ahead and smite into that.
It's so gratifying every single time that Feck has
Right, I
to.
will
Oh wait, he doesn't
never
resist that.
Get tired of watching fire burn.
I hate it. Wow, that's just not a good smite,
That's
is it?
really bad smite.
This does seem to have undead property. And you do have mantle up too, right?
Yes.
Alright, that's actually pretty good after all the bonuses. 13 points.
Then let's go ahead and... Yeah, let's just try to finish him off. I'll try to take the second attack on him.
26 hits again for another 15.
20 total.
Yep, another 5 after mantle. He is still up.
Fuck. That's action and bonus action, and I can't move, so I'm good.
Alright, at the end of your turn, we're going to use another legendary from the Overwhelming Deaths. He kind of grabs with both of his hands like he's performing some sort of a magic effect. And you hear and feel the earth underneath you where your ankle is caught begin to rumble and move. And you feel yourself being tugged as the earth continues to just kind of drag you towards him, past him, and up around towards the northeast corner of the room. I need a strength saving throw mode. 18 is good. You are only pulled half as far, but he pulls you up to here.
That son of a bitch.
Said stays close to me.
You watch Nordo as he is just kind of carried away by this shifting earth.
Isn't Earth your thing? Has him getting dragged across the room.
Does that break
Can I
his
make an
grapple?
opportunity attack on Moat as he's being dragged away?
If it's a grapple, yeah. I mean, well, he's being moved against his will, so no. Unfortunately, that is how it normally works.
But I have
Although it's-
Sentinel.
Break his grapple, right?
He is still grappled by the fissure. He's basically moving with the fissure that's grappling him.
Iron Fisher.
Yep. Let's see. Let's go and use the other legendary. The dragon is going to use his legendary to chow down on either Gale or Nordo. This thing is not smart enough to recognize Fire Shield, so let's find out.
Might be smart enough to recognize that I reckless attacked though.
He picks you by chance anyway. So Nordo with advantage. 32.
Didn't need it.
So there are 29 points of piercing and cold damage as this thing just brings its head down on top of you and bites hard. And then you feel that it begins to try to pull you back up in and draw you into itself. You can feel these frigid flames. I need a dexterity saving throw.
Both advantage and disadvantage because of that thing. Straight roll.
You're able to pull yourself free just before this thing kind of rears its head back in an attempt to swallow you. That brings us to Elise. Who's confused?
No.
She does whatever the hell she wants. She's going to run up and do some healing, I think. Who needs it? You need a little bit.
I say in order is it like half-ish? A little over half.
She'll just bring a little spot heal down, and that'll bring us to Nomad.
Right. I'm going to kind of rise a little bit until I'm over here. I'm gonna lift off the ground so at least the ground isn't difficult terrain. I have 30 feet of movement. Can I fly above 15 feet and head like here 15 feet? I think that
Yes, it will take an opportunity attack. You've seen it's got that weird whip thing, so it's got some pretty impressive reach. So here it goes. And yeah, that is for you, Nordo.
Okay, great, thanks. Hey, it's ace.
It's an ace. 17, I think, misses.
I
I'm
saved
15.
the day.
Yeah, I'm 15 feet in the air, so this aura doesn't affect anyone currently, but he's going to try and shoot a little... What was it? Ice? He's gonna do lightning at this guy.
Excellent. Fire away.
One moment. No, he's not gonna do that. He's gonna go look over at Moat, and he's going to say, "This is your legacy."
It's being flung around the room by my ankle.
Let's make that easier to get rid of, shall we? And he puts a hand over his chest, and he utters a prayer.
Yourself.
And this is at Moat.
What is this? Whoa, is this like super duper haste?
This is a 6th level spell that Nomad created.
Jesus, thanks God.
We'll find out if I regret this one.
Please read it properly. It's very dangerous.
All right. Anything else, Nomad?
That's it.
All right. At the end of your turn, the overwhelming deaths are going to use one more legendary. This time on. Oh, Nomad, you're not touching the ground. It's going to be Nordo. Nordo, I need another dexterity saving throw as fissure is now open underneath you.
Okay. This time I have advantage.
You are good. You're able to. I think. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure that saves.
This last one was 20.
Yep, you're good. Okay, cool. Then that'll bring us to the lonely death of Samson Tomarelli. He finally gets a turn.
10 points of necrotic.
He sure does. Is he? I know he's undead. Is he immune? He's not. Okay. Fuck. That pops all his temp health. God damn it.
I know your pain, sir.
All right. First of all, there is a flare of blue fire and a howling wind that swirls throughout the entire room and even out into the hallway. Some of you, Nordo, Nomad, actually Nomad I don't think is applicable here, but some of you feel a certain warmth that seems to radiate from your nearby allies. Some of you, on the other hand, feel an especially biting cold from this chilling wind. I need a Constitution saving throw. And if you don't have any friendlies within 10 feet of you, that is at disadvantage.
Oh, we need body heat. Oh, thank Christ.
You take 8 on a fail, or just 4 on a success.
Oh god. 2 cold damage.
Same.
I mean, Moat's taking double from this. Hopefully this is going to hurt Moat at least a little bit. Although we didn't
Yeah,
get double.
I'm sorry, Mode. I don't know how to turn your fire off.
It's
He
okay.
has to like attune to your weapon and do it himself. So it's
That's
like
gonna be
can't-
after this thing.
On the bright side, you at least made your strength save so he couldn't pull you far enough away from Toto. So you don't have disadvantage.
Right next to, or within 10 feet of Vasu.
Oh yeah, Vasu's there too. Just kidding. Anyway, that's the first thing he does. The next thing he does is bite some more. This time it's going to be on Gale. 23? It's Gale. That probably hits. Oh no. You watch Gale as this dragon rears its head back, chomps down into you. You feel a searing pain in your good thigh, and then you feel yourself lifted up off of the ground and pulled into this thing. And there is just a cold, so cold it burns as you are sucked into the.
You use the reaction to lower
Oh.
the damage he takes.
Good
As
call.
he's bitten.
Is it immune
I,
to cold? It is immune to cold, unfortunately.
Here, 17 temp HP, so subtract that from 33 at least.
So notably, while you are grappled and restrained, while you're swallowed, you are grappled and restrained, and you can feel that you will continue to take cold damage. With that said, your vision is not blocked. You are able to see through this thing. You're just kind of surrounded by these ghostly fires. And then finally, since we have an Ace, I have pulled Valna back. She's a little too scared right now. Ace, you can take your turn if you'd like. Oh wait, I'm sorry. He gets one more thing before I forget. Nope, just kidding. He doesn't get it yet. Okay, Ace.
I can't hear you, Ace.
He might have gone AFK for a second.
1 second.
You're good. Take your time.
Help us, Ace. You're our only hope.
Back, we were just ending our call.
You're good.
Oh, there I am. Look at me, so tiny and cute. Is it still within an hour from when we were fighting the little Grande boys?
The little Grande boys. What?
The things inside the rift.
Oh, yes. Yes, you guys basically came out, talked to the mass for about 25 minutes. You probably got about 35 minutes left on that.
You're also on fire.
I am
Yeah.
fire.
You are made of fire.
Oh, and notably, you've been seeing a lot of cold damage going on in here, which you're vulnerable to, so be the fuck careful.
What's this bitch doing? You know what? This bitch now has a hunter's mark on her.
All right.
Also, Gale is in that bitch's belly.
Oh.
Heck.
Can I attack like
He
a
got bored.
as just a reaction? Just move out of her.
If he was able to move, but he's grappled and restrained.
That would make sense.
Yep. Inspiration, by the
Assuming-
way, goes to Nomad and Gale and Moat.
Gotcha.
And Vasu.
I'm assuming this is not a aberration or a humanoid.
It is not.
Do I get sneak attack because Gale's inside of it?
Nordo's also in range, so
I
yes.
practiced it too.
But technically, yes. 31 slams in for 25 points of damage. Uh, 19 does land for another 14.
All right. I'm just gonna temporarily just duck back over here.
All right.
The way.
And as you fire both of your shots, having done at least a certain threshold of damage, it needs to make a con save. God damn it. Gale, you see these two arrows kind of catch you right by the belt hooks, and side by side they basically drag you out and through and back to where you were standing. I guess it would have dragged you this way.
What the hell did you just say? Boomerang arrows.
Pretty much. There's this massive gap that is created right in the belly of this thing, and it quickly reforms, but it is enough for Gale to pull himself free as a massive amount of damage was dealt. And that'll bring us to the top of a new round, but not before a couple things happen. First of all, lair action, lair action, lair action. Where are you? Here you are. Are you visible? No, you ducked around the corner. God damn it. Then let's go ahead and pick Moat for
Ding
this.
dong.
There's a door here. Something is at the door.
Is it pizza? The pizza man?
It might be. I don't know. Did you guys order food? I didn't order food.
I'm not at your house.
Might be Dash or something. Anyway, this thing rears back a breath, and as it comes out, instead of a cone of ice, it comes out as this long, thin stream of freezing air that makes its way over to Moat, and it begins to wrap its way around Moat. Moat. There is this dense, crystal-like icy fog that is just swirling around you. You feel this horrible cold and just this sense of loneliness. Like you're being pulled away from all of your friends and will probably never be seen ever again. I need the Constitution saving throw. You just made it, so you are not slowed. However, the fog is still lingering around you.
Noted. That is unfortunate.
And then, do these things have a lair action? They do. All four of these overwhelming deaths let out this terrible screeching noise, and they begin to run. This one to here, this one is already next to Moat, this one up to Elise, and this one also up to Elise. And as they run, you see these cracks form straight down the center of their chest, and you see this blazing fire where their hearts would be that suddenly erupts out in a tether, and it wraps around, this one wraps around Gale's chest like a lasso. This one wraps around Moat's chest like a lasso, and both of these entangle Elise, one around the shoulder and one around the waist. I need Constitution saving throws from Gale and from Elise, and Moat, I think you're safe because you're immune to fire. But I'll go double check real quick.
Hey, I'm sorry. Real quick, I wasn't paying super close attention. Which way did 2 come from? Or has he been there the whole time?
He was there.
He was there, yeah.
Okay.
These creatures move. The one beneath you, I don't know if that triggers.
This one did move.
Oh.
I don't know if that was in range of you. Gale, you take 5 points of
Yeah,
fire
15.
damage.
I've got 15 feet.
Is that with or with resistance?
That is before resistance, so only 2 after resistance. Oh no, Elise.
But yeah, if I could have taken an opportunity attack on, I can't tell what number this is, but I will definitely try to do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Save her at least one of those hits.
Elise takes 21.
Does this thing take fire damage from touching me?
Oh no.
It seems to be immune. Oh no, Vasu. Yeah, it is able to just slink right on past.
Is it immune to mantle?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's not immune to fire. Huh. Yeah, no, it's gonna take it. Good call.
Can I just say how goddamn nasty the Sentinel Tunnel Fighter Vasu 15 foot of reach combo is?
It's real gross.
It's so fucking
It's amazing.
good. Until I roll a nat 1 and don't hit.
That will bring us to the top of a new round.
Fucking killing on my alacrity rolls.
Ooh, there
at
it
Mo.
is.
Now we're
I make up for the 2 earlier.
I'm sure you'll still roll a nat 2 on the d20, so it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely, I will.
So bear with me. Roll20 has been shitting the bed for like 3 days.
So I've yet to decide on what feat to take for this level up we just had, guys. So if you have
Oh,
any,
man.
I know.
Slay. Water
You already
elementals.
sharpshooter?
Already have sharpshooter,
I couldn't remember.
which I realized I could take a -5 for attack to
Say.
do 10 more damage, and I never do that.
I say you gotta be calling that every time. That's why I didn't know you had it.
No, well, but I guess combined with the elven accuracy. I guess
Yeah.
if I got a natural 20 though, it would no longer be a natural 20 though.
Natural 20s are always natural 20s. I think
Even
that
if they're -5?
Shooter gives you a -5, it'd still be a crit.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
Plus 5 bonus doesn't turn a 15 into a crit. The opposite's true.
Right.
I guess that makes sense.
Roll.
Roll like that.
You still hit on a natural 20 even if you have a -20.
Right, exactly.
It was much worse, and I can't do anything about it.
Look at these bonkers initiative rolls.
Nordo and Moat both up here with
Oh
me.
my
I
God.
love it.
Those are
Alacrity
bonkers rolls.
just carried us to the top.
Alright, Nordo up first.
Okay. Well, I see Moat in trouble, but I also see a lot of my other friends in trouble. And dead monsters don't DPS. Have I seen this thing attack with reach? I guess the question that I'm asking is, can I like step into Nomad's square, and do I think I will trigger an opportunity attack if I do that?
The bite looked like a 10-foot reach. You don't know if he has other weapons, but that was 10 feet.
Okay, I'll risk it for the biscuit because I want that. Nomad, are you flying? You're kind of up in the air, right?
I'm at 15 feet in the air.
Fine, perfect. I will step underneath Nomad and hope that I don't get opportunity attacked.
You're good.
Excellent. And then I will attack this thing because I wanted sweet tip HP. Recklessly, of course. If a 16 would have hit, then it's prone.
It would not have.
Okay. And it still needs a strength save.
Not great at that.
Terrific. I will go ahead and do a bonus action. I'll go ahead and declare a flurry of blows now and start with an unarmed strike on this thing.
All right. Uh, 14 misses.
That's terrible. Oh, wait. I have a thing. I have a monk class feature. I'm going to use the monk class feature that I always forget about, focused aim. I'll spend a key point to increase that to... Oh wait, I already know that a 16 misses from the last attack that I did, so never mind, I won't do that.
Alright.
So here's the second attack of the Flurry of Blows.
He wants to live. No, he does not get to live. There's a crunch and this thing scatters into pieces. And as it does, you watch as a huge flash of this cloudy magical energy is suddenly pulled back over to this mural.
Okay, cool. And some of that cloud wraps around Nordo and gives him sweet, sweet life. That is my bonus action and one of my 2 attacks. I will step back up to the dragon and make my second attack.
.29 is good for 17.
Cool. And a natural 1 would not have hit. So, let's see, do I want to use that right now? That's it. That's my turn.
Alright, at the end of your turn, it is going to throw up another ice shield on itself. And that'll bring us to Ace.
What is this ice shield?
You see this giant dragon, the one that just had Gale inside it, throws up these plates of ice that swirl all around, giving it a little bit of protection and also making it very cold to the touch, cold enough that attacking it from up close would be uncomfortable. In a deadly sort of way.
How tall is this thing?
Probably a good 18 to 22 feet.
So if I cast darkness on its head, it probably would be completely enveloped in darkness.
Seems reasonable.
Well, I don't like that. I want it to be partially visible.
Like its bottom, like its base would still be poking out a little bit.
Could Nordo hit its base without disadvantage?
Yeah, theoretically. He's a big
Alright,
boy.
so well, first off, I'm going to hide. And then I'm going to pop out, and I'm going to do, with my advantage now, I'm going to take a negative 10 to my attack to do 10 more damage.
It's only -5, thankfully.
Yep. Oh,
Oh no.
And Elven Accuracy gives it a 24.
Oh yeah, with Elven Accuracy, that brings it to a 19, and a 19 does just hit. So that is 32 points of damage.
It is 42 points of damage.
Doesn't Elven Accuracy... Oh yeah, you
No,
do have advantage.
Sharpshooter. So Elven actually gives me advantage. Sharpshooter is a -5 to give me 10 more damage.
Yep. And you have the
And then
advantage because of your stealth. Hell yeah.
And then reaction to just cast darkness on his head.
what a gross combo.
It's real dirty. There's a lot of real good builds going on here.
Okay.
So that brings it to 26 points of damage after the shield is broken.
Next question. Now that he's enveloped in darkness, can he see me?
Boy, do you have Devil's Sight?
I have True Sight.
With True Sight, you can see that he seems to still be looking around, seemingly unfazed.
Alright, I'll just attack him without being so super duper cool.
Uh, 21 is good for another 13 points.
And then I'll duck back over here. And if I notice that this is becoming encumbrance to my allies, you said it doesn't look like he's affected by it, right?
It seems like it, yeah.
I guess I'll just drop it. Stupid dragon
I
spell.
know. I'm so sorry. Blind 30.
It's okay.
At the end of your turn, it's going to throw up another Frost Shield, because fuck that shit. It wants to live. That'll bring us to Moat.
Alrighty. I'm gonna start by looking down at my leg, which is still being clamped in the earth, and I just kind of fizzle up real bright for a second, and for my bonus action, I'm gonna cast Misty Step to just get out of that, because I'm good, thank you. It's just right there.
Shit.
And then I'm gonna take a bunch of attacks on this guy,
Alright.
because I'm hasted.
21 slams in for 10 points of slashing and fire.
15 with Mantle.
That does chew through its temp HP, but you do take... Oh wait, you have reach.
I have reach.
Son of a bitch. Does this, what's the range on this? God damn it. You feel a cold blast,
fine.
but you're at reach, so you take none of it.
Second attack.
That is another solid hit for 18.
Yes, 18, and then I'll use my hasted action to do some more attacks.
Give me a spite.
I was thinking about spiting on all of them, but we'll do it from here on out. And I'll smite into that one.
Oh, god damn it.
I will light my weapon with Moat's sweet, sweet fire.
Alright.
That's what you wanted.
Correct.
Hold on. I don't know why.
I think.
Oh, terrible smite damage. So it's 19 from the attack, and then the smite.
Yeah, it's effectively 8 more for me.
That is enough. This thing suddenly just kind of flickers out like a candle being blown out. Although you do see that the blue flames still remain.
And then I will take my last attack on this guy next to Gale.
Oh no!
And then I guess with my movement, I will just step up next to him.
Alright, sounds good.
Actually, yeah, that's fine.
Alright, you do feel a little bit of a warmth and safety as you stand next to Gale. As these frigid, frosty fog swirls continue to close in around you. Vasu.
Oh jeez. Stand next to me.
17 does just hit for 16 points. And another 17 for another 16. Very consistent.
Consistent. I only have 2 key points, so I'm not gonna do a flurry or anything, but I'm just gonna kick this guy. I'm gonna kick his head clean off. Check this.
18 is good for another 9 on top of that.
17, 17, 18. Love it. That's me.
Alright, that'll bring us to Elise. Elise is not really having a great time with all this, but she's going to throw out a spiritual weapon and then take a swing on the one right next to her. Noel and the gang have been playing Tales of Symphonia lately, and it's been real fun to watch.
I love that game so much.
Playing it too.
16 and 14 both miss. Nice job, Elise. That'll bring us to number 10, which is up top. I need wisdom saving throws. If you have successfully saved on this, or if you've broken out of it, you're good. So I think actually that's everyone. Yeah, okay, never mind. We don't have to do it anymore. Perfect. We're good.
What is it?
The confusion effect. Oh, right, you haven't yet, so we'll do it when we come down to you, but you're out of range for this one.
I don't think I have either. I got a 17, which gave me the disadvantage. I don't
Oh,
know if
that's
that
right.
counts as saving on it.
Okay, then go and give me another wisdom saving throw. You're good, and now you are immune to it. But it is going to just continue to throw these whip chains at Gale. 15, 26, 17. And that'll bring us to Gale's turn.
Cool. It does take a bunch of damage. By a bunch, I mean 13 gold damage.
Excellent.
And I'm just gonna shoot in the face.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, those will both hit for 31 points of piercing. This huge blast of stone just kind of scatters like gravel in the top left corner of the room.
And then Toto's gonna go after the overwhelming death by Vasu.
Oh, pack tactics!
Damage.
Oh, almost. Nearly takes this thing down. It is just barely holding on. Cracks of magma forming under its skin. Anything else?
Yeah, with Toto's hit, I'm gonna Arcane Jolt, but not. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna kill it. I'm gonna actually heal myself.
Okay. Okay. Alright. That brings us to number 8. Who's already got Elise pretty much right where he wants her. So this will be on Elise, all 3 of them. Ooh, the 23.
Real bad rolls.
I think the 23 might hit at least. But she does have crazy AC. It does just hit. Okay, 22 points fire damage on Elise. And then number 4, the one with the control over these, is finally back up. I need a wisdom save from Vasu here, because technically you just had the disadvantage on your next d20. You have not saved fully against it yet. So it lets out another fiery shout.
I broke the confusion, didn't I?
You broke it, but you broke it to the threshold where you just had disadvantage on your next d20 roll. You need a... What is it? You need an 18 to fully break it.
So am I saving against the disadvantage thing again, or is this possibly another confusion? Because I swear to God,
It's
if you crowd
possibly...
control me one more fucking time.
It's possibly another one.
God damn it!
Oh no, Vasu!
Vasu, you have 18 wisdom! What the fuck?
Have you considered just rolling better?
Wait, do monks not have
weighted.
wisdom proficiency?
No, monks have strength and dex.
Strength.
That's...
I
well, I
That's
guess
really
that makes
dumb.
sense.
I took resilient wisdom.
They definitely get it eventually with Diamond Soul. Like, they get all proficiencies. But yeah, not yet. And unfortunately, that means that you feel this... Honestly, it's kind of appropriate. The sensation that fills you is one of just blinded, furious, raging, fiery passion. It is just this feeling that you have to act, you have to do something, you've got to... There's combat happening, and there's so many choices and so many different ways that you can help, and it all just kind of hits at once.
Is Vasu a full monk?
I have 3 levels of Warlock right now.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Fine. I'll just only take 1 turn during this encounter. I'll call me back when you're done. I'm gonna go back to folding my laundry.
You've done like 5 opportunity attacks.
Also, have some lashes to the face, Vasu. Those all miss, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Alright, that'll bring us to the lonely death of Samson Tamarella.
Only a death.
I assume.
He can't do that.
If he's considering healing, he can't because he had no wounds.
He can't do that. And you're right, he can't heal, but he can still do this at least. Moat, all of these frigid crystalline fog strands suddenly erupt in a 10-foot radius around you. Let's pop this button. You and Gale both feel this blast.
I'm sorry, Gale. I thought this was going to be helpful.
Because Gale is next to you, that is reduced from 33 to 23, and then you guys split it evenly. So you each take 11 points of cold damage.
I don't know if he's still like eligible for damage in whatever state he's in, but there's his wound damage up there. If so.
Excellent. And then, thanks to those bleeds, the fire snuffs out.
Also, unrelated, the death that attacked Vasu takes 5 force damage.
Oh, he's so close. He's so very close. Gale, as you're engulfed in this explosion of ice, you do see that the lasso around you kind of just fizzles away. And that'll bring us to Nomad.
This is on the overwhelming death number 2. This is gonna be a lightning bolt. 19 hit.
It sure does, and that damage is plenty, as this thing is struck down and Vasu's confusion ends.
You have 1 HP left?
It had 1 HP, I know, I'm so sorry.
Here, Vasu, I've saved you from confusion. Praise be me. That's my turn.
But I'm still filled with an overwhelming urge to kill something.
One over here.
You don't understand. I'm just so pissed off.
By all means, engage. I'm done. That's me.
Alright. This thing is going to use a legendary real quick to try to entrap Nordo. I need a dexterity saving throw.
Ever gonna attack me up here? It's like steady.
19, I think. Yeah, it does, which is a damn shame. And that'll bring us to the top of a new round. However, at the bottom of the round, you see that this thing throws out another strand towards Elise, who is now wrapped in 3 separate coils. And she needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
What was that?
As we end that turn, I'm going to spend one of my hero points. To cast a cantrip, and I'm gonna hit number 8, who keeps fucking with Elise with one of these.
Alright, you better do a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. It's not quite enough to finish it though. 18 points.
That's a retitled Toll the Dead. That's D12s when they have damage on them though, right?
Correct. It should also be a wisdom save, not an attack roll.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let me roll that.
Roll 3d12.
You're looking. Let me readjust that.
Oh. Oh wait, that's chill touch.
He fails to save.
Real bad, too.
Is this chill touch or is this Toll the Dead?
According to the text, it's chill touch. This is correct. This is the first iteration was correct.
Oh yeah, that's definitely chill touch. Sorry,
So the first one is
I shouldn't
totally
have
fine.
renamed all of my spells because it's confusing me.
Totally fine.
But it felt weird to have a. It felt weird to have a monk that was like using chill touch and Toll the Dead shit and mage hand. So instead, I have Death's Inviting Grip.
All right. Either way, that does mean that
Wind Carried Word and
top one was
Reach
right.
of the Free Key. Okay, so it is an attack roll.
It is,
Okay.
which means everything about the first one was fine. 27 hits for 18 points of necrotic damage. And also, because it's undead, it has disadvantage on attacks against you.
Cool.
However, it doesn't seem interested in you at all. It's got Elise. It throws another lasso around Elise, and then there's a searing flame that leaves these brilliant molten red streaks across her plate armor. She has failed her Constitution saving throw and takes 29 points of fire damage, which she goes unconscious. Oh, maybe not.
Lordy, really?
Sorry, whoops, that's the wrong thing to click. It's this one.
20. She's still up.
It's a terrible roll, by the way.
All right. Flick is here now, so we'll get him in for the next round, although it seems like this is probably pretty close to over.
I showed up just in time to get a kill steal. It's great.
Hell yeah.
I've got my temp HP, it's fine.
Also, I mixed some raspberry rum with grenadine, intending to mix it further, and I forgot that I didn't mix anything else in it, and I just got a whole big mouthful of it.
Oh man.
And it was delightful. I almost swallowed it, and I'm like, oh wait, that's a lot of rum.
With the
No.
cereal, burning it, that is.
Alright, Ace, first to act on the top of the new round.
Alright, I'm going to take the bonus action hide.
Alright. 21 is good. That beats all their passives.
I would like to roll above a 5.
Do I need to move to shoot him?
That would be quite nice.
Possibly.
With sharpshooter, do I need to move to hit him from here? I can move, it's fine.
Need to.
Alright, well I'll move over anyway so I can hit the other guy. And I'm gonna hit the guy next to Elise.
Alright. First shot's at advantage.
Yeah, does he look like he has a lot of health?
He looks okay. He looks like he's taking a little damage.
Okay, then I'm going to do the -5 to do +10.
Uh, 24 slams in for 30 points.
It should be a 19 to hit for 40 damage.
Gotcha. 19 does still hit, and another 10 damage brings us dangerously low.
Okay, so he's hit. So he took 40. He's still up.
Yep, he's still up. Not looking great. That will do it. He has 1 point left. And with that, you see that all of these flaming whips surrounding Elise are released.
And then I'll move out of the way so that I don't burn Flick as he walks past me.
Alright. Brings us to Moat.
Is it a deck save? I can't fail that. Fuck you. I'll walk as close to you as I want.
I'm also like really short, so it's probably easy to walk over me.
20 is good for 15.
For 20. Sorry, I know that's going to keep up with.
Oh, nope, totally fine. He's not looking great either. 13 misses.
I guess I'll use my hasted action. Seriously?
14 misses.
Watch me not kill this guy.
Holy shit.
Flick did say it was his.
Oh,
my god.
That'll do it.
Well, I want to smite as bad as I can right now, but...
I showed up in time to get the battle experience without doing anything. It was like when you swap in a Magikarp at the beginning of a fight, only backwards.
Yep, exactly. Alright. You cleave into this thing, it crumbles to the ground, and as it does, the last bit of this magical vapor is sucked into this western mural. Likewise, you see that as this flame suddenly fizzles and dies out, it is pulled into this mural, leaving the stairwell on fire, unaflame, extinguished, safe. And with that, everything does go quiet.
Okay.
What in tarnation just happened?
Is the stairwell going up or going down?
It seems to be going down.
Both of the inlays look fine now.
They do, and as you kind of take some time to investigate and watch, you can hear this as all of this kind of floating gaseous energy is drawn to the skeleton, and it begins to kind of hover contained in place, making up what could be seen as like a gaseous, spongy body or muscles for these skeletons. And as you come over to this one, it says, where? Oh, I'm here again. Oh, it's been so long. Are you? You must be the next. I'm Sammy. I'm Sammy. What's your name?
Hi, Sammy. It's Moat Solimar.
Well, strange times, huh? I guess
you could say that again.
Probably know all about me. I wish it was a bit of a better story, but
I don't know if I know as much as I would like to know.
Oh, well, I mean, I can tell you. My name is Samson Tamarello, and I was contacted by the Order of Balance, because apparently I was chosen for a great destiny. I was an avatar of the Phoenix, it seemed. I discovered this place at great peril and through wonderful adventures. I stole a key from a pair of dragons that were hoarding over it, and entered the place. And then, that's kind of where things got shitty. After I realized who I was, I think other people did too. The order told me that I needed to be cautious, and, well, I guess I probably should have listened. Someone, we think it was probably the Ryujin or the Raiju, or both of them working together. It seems like they've been working together. The house that I grew up in was destroyed. My mom still lived there. And I got really angry, and I went to go deal with them. And, well, here I am. So, there used to be these little guys here. Are the guys not with you?
No, the guys aren't here right now. It kind of looks like they lost control of this place a while back.
Oh, that's not good. They told me that they were supposed to, like, kind of guide the new avatars through and help them learn lessons from the past and help to not repeat mistakes, and they did a pretty bang-up job on me, but, well, if they're not here at all, I'm sorry, I'm not, like, really great at giving lessons or teaching. Frankly, I don't think I did a very good job. But maybe the others will.
Sorry, what was that last?
The past avatars. They seemed like they were helpful. Maybe they'll have some more advice or something.
Yeah. Samson, at the end of all this, what, the Keepers, did they tell you what was supposed to happen when this is all said and done? What was supposed to happen to you?
Vaguely, yes. They knew some of it, but what they knew was kind of informed on what happened to them. You see, many of their lives are tangled up in this thing as well. All of these souls contribute to the rebirth of the Phoenix each time, and when your service is done, and your time has passed, the theory is that you move on to your own afterlife, wherever that may be. Some chose to stay here and continue to serve and protect, but many others had families that they wished to see, and things like that. But that's what I tried to do, and there were complications. I did a lot of research going into this. I thought that I was making sort of an informed decision about how this whole ritual would work, what it would take, the cost. I brought a lot of people with me, people that also knew the sacrifice that they would need to make. And at the end of it all, before I ended up here, I remember there were these fissures in the air, and there were monsters that I had never seen before in my life, and they seemed to want me to stay here, or they prevented me from leaving. They dragged me around, they split me into pieces. I don't think that things are working the way that they're supposed to be working right now. And I don't fully understand it, but there is someone else, another one of the avatars. His name, Leon. He was very knowledgeable on the afterlife, on souls. Apparently he worshipped a god of death and the afterlife. And he was trying to explain all of it when something happened. I think the dragons, forgive me, I don't remember too terribly well, but I think the dragons came and split us or sundered us. Maybe that's how we ended up here?
The sacrifice. You said that you were meant to make some sacrifice, and so were the ones with you. What is that?
Yes. Well, according to legends and some degree of divination, there are two modes that can be used to revive the Phoenix. The first is a tremendous sacrifice of souls. It is temporary. They move on to their own afterlives when the Phoenix has served its cycle, but for all we know, that could be hundreds or even thousands of years. It's no light task. It's one that we took. It was a very serious oath. We did it for the betterment of the world. That one required, as you would expect, people to die. Myself included. It's a risk that I was willing to take if necessary. However, we did learn that there is another method. This place, this tower, it goes down for every life that has ever served as an avatar in this region, as far as we know. And each offers a lesson, each offers some sort of spiritual advice or a sage journey. And the legend says that if you were to complete all of them and reunite all of the souls as one, then they could rekindle the Phoenix again, that way. But for all we know, there have been hundreds of avatars, so we didn't know if that journey would be something that we could accomplish. We came prepared to do either, to try one and do the other if it didn't work. In the end, only about half of us even made it up the mountain. As we came, the Tarask fell, and all of his orphaned elemental minions were turned on us. We fought our way through the volcano to the roost, and some of them followed us in, but when we arrived, only a small regiment even made it inside this building. We found the keepers were in disarray. They had been changed. Several of them attacked us. By the end, we were forced to retreat. Me and many of my men, if I remember correctly, died on our retreat back out in the mountain. And that is where my story, at least for the time being, ended.
So if I'm understanding right, there's two ways to skin this potato, which is one of them is Moat dies, and his soul goes on to power the Phoenix for some hundreds or thousands of years. And the other one is we keep going down them stairs right there for 50 or 100 or something so floors and going through challenges like this one until we get to the bottom of it all.
That is how we understood it, yes. And Moat would not be the only one who needed to die, and he looks over to Moat. Although it does seem that he's a very powerful avatar with a strong sympathy to all of it. It would take the life of potentially hundreds.
Well, that option's not on the table, so I guess down the stairs we go. Although,
Let's take a long rest.
Might need a little nap before we do it.
We should talk to Leon too.
I
think we should talk to Renner too.
don't know how deep in Leon was, but he was a good friend of ours. He explained a lot of this. He seemed very knowledgeable on the afterlife, and out of all of us, I think he was the most content to stay here, to live in this form. Many of us felt trapped when we realized that we couldn't escape as we thought we would be able to. Every time we left, we ran into these fissures, these monsters. He can't be too far in, but I don't know where.
I reckon we could figure out just how far down he is by the order of the masks upstairs. So maybe that's making things simpler than they are, but in this here room we see Samson and Paramenos, which are the last two. See how far down the line Leon was up in that room full of masks and weapons.
Could be, yes.
Time limit.
Hey Samson, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Of course, anything. It's my duty to help while I'm here.
Do you know what year you died?
Yes, I do. It was the year
Of our Lord.
of our Lord. 652. Late. It was November, I think.
It's 669 right now, right?
Yep.
99.
99 or
Right.
669?
I think it's 699. We'll check.
Okay, so it's about 47 years ago.
So I knew there's a 69 in it because
Hey.
In reference to the order, who was the head of the order at the time, or who gave you the mission? This mission specifically.
I served under a woman named Aziza. She was old, human, kind, gentle, intelligent, strong as a board. She raised me up. She insisted that I approach all of this cautiously and secretly. If you're familiar with the Order, and he looks over to Moat, and it seems that you are, you understand that most of what they do is done with secrecy in mind. They like to play within the shadows. And at first I was very skeptical of all of this, but when I had heard stories of how some of the previous avatars had died, I began to realize that this is not a desirable position. It will come with a lot of hatred and a lot of anger towards you from a lot of very powerful people. If I overheard correctly, it sounds like they went for Mr. Tamarello's mother. I began to realize that playing it safe and doing my research was important. I spent probably 15 years studying under them before I began to assemble the people that I would need to do this job once and for all.
Next question. What do you know of the Blue Order? Is that their name? I forget their actual name. Ace would know, but I'm stupid.
Blue Order is correct.
Okay. What do you know of the Blue Order?
I've never heard of the Blue Order.
Follow with us?
It's about Tabula Rasa too.
Could you follow us down here?
Yes, Volna is with you.
Do anything.
Yeah, I pulled her out as soon as 2 more people showed up because I didn't want to, spoiler alert, I didn't want to break combat again.
Yeah. Did you have any missions by the Order involving the torch? I'm assuming.
Yes, there was a torch. Yes, that one. And he points to Moat.
Did you have to go retrieve it?
The Order, yes, I was sent to retrieve it. There was a dragon's lair, down to, I believe it's southwest of this place, hidden in some of the islands, just the unexplored jungle in that direction. There was apparently once a very powerful dragon that lived there that held on to that.
Did you also need to put to rest the bones of your predecessor?
Let's see. Double check.
Urja?
I did not. She had already been placed here, although I'm not sure by who, and I had been taught a lot of stories of how she was slain. During the war, it sounded like, or as the war was ending.
Gotcha. Also, Norda, did you say that the Tabula Rasa was the predecessor to the Order?
I don't know if that's really true. Tabula Rasa was around at the time when the Crosswinds were made, and they were the ones who were responsible for collapsing the Crosswinds, and then because they wanted to restore the world to a blank slate. So they're kind of like the spiritual predecessor to Blue Order, so
Gotcha.
But it had any real involvement with them.
Gotcha. Did you have any relations or run-ins with the Tabula Rasa?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
We'd have to go back further. It's the first one.
Yeah,
Claudia
gotcha.
Vargas.
Just figured I'd cover everything.
The book says that Claudia Vargas was rambling about eldritch horrors from the sky, so she probably is from that from that era.
No, Claudia, yeah, she's frankly, take what you hear from her with a grain of salt if you do find her. She was friendly enough, and I don't know if pleasant is the right word for it, but she was a little strange. Smart as a tack, though.
Correct.
Was she?
Nah.
How?
There were invaders from the sky.
If you've met her mask, you've probably already gotten a bit of a taste for her, although those masks are kind of a shallow representation of a soul.
How long were you the Phoenix before you passed away?
I was contacted by the Order around 14. I joined them around 20. I studied until my mid-30s. And then I was told to leave the Order, that it was no longer safe for me to be part of them or for them to know what I was doing. They set me on my own and told me that I would know what my mission was, and so I did. I served in the military for some time to try to establish rapport with the local governments. I began to form an army of sorts that was strong enough to not risk assassination. And once I had gathered enough people, I brought them here to do what I could do. Unfortunately, the timing of the war made things difficult. As we were sailing east, it was rumored that the Tarrasque had reappeared, and as we landed, it was reported that it had died. And because this place is as ripe with earth and elemental energy as fire, it was an uphill battle the entire time, and we simply didn't have the forces that I think we needed.
So what was your mission with the Tarrasque then?
I wasn't involved with the Tarrasque in any way, but it is curious. What year is it, by the way? How long has it been since this war? Are you familiar with the war?
Which war?
We called it the Caraxian War.
Have I heard of the Caraxian War?
Almost certainly. Give me a history check.
Okay.
It's come up a few times.
Dragon War.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, the one that you'll see was in. I figured.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh god.
The year is 699.
Oh, it has been some time then. Well, as the war was going on, we had been kind of informed by the Order that the Trask was missing. Let me double check the thing real quick. How much does he know about this?
Please, while this is going on, please heal yourself and anyone else.
I could use a touch up, and then I can use my elite zone life.
We can help a little bit with that too, with the oh, I forget the name of it. Some sort of ecto-syrex or something. The short version is that we can do this, and he extends a hand to whoever looks hurt. Gale or Elise or anybody that wants it.
I'll take some. So if he's just handing it out for free, I'll take some. But if it's limited, I can wait.
It's my understanding, and again, Leon is the one who really understands how souls work. But it's my understanding that this builds up over time, and it serves no use to us, but we can give it to you to give you a little bit of kind of the same replenishment that happens when there's a new lunar cycle. It's just rest and healing.
That'd be nice.
Convenient.
The fact
So I'm pretty sure he's saying that every time we go through a floor, we can get a full long rest.
Oh my god, guys, let's go down this Zelda
Gauntlet.
I don't think it's a long rest. But
He said lunar cycle. Oh, I guess he means day, not like month. I was thinking like lunar cycle.
Elise, as you guys kind of encourage her, she will take his hand, and you do see that she suddenly looks a lot better. Mechanically, so that you guys can decide who gets the one from Tomarello. She gets a short rest.
Shit.
give it.
Ooh.
I need the mana.
Say I could use some rage and key, but not as much as other people
Yeah.
need mana.
Like, I'm sitting at 2 key points, but health-wise I'm alright. So if other people need HP or mana more, I say they take it.
Gets who
I'm
blows his
Gucci, I
load
don't
every
need
day and kind of needs it every day.
That's true.
I'm as long rest dependent as physically possible, so this does very little for me. But I could use the hit points.
Say I could use the short rest, but my hit points are actually okay. I would be topped off with like a cure wounds from Elise.
Why don't I take it and then I can catnap anybody else?
Right. That's a good
How
plan.
many
Bless your
How
soul.
many can they like affect?
It's my understanding that if we focus our energy, we can put it into one other living creature. It doesn't work so well on the undead or each other. And it's something that we can only do once we've accumulated more of whatever this ecto-cerebral blood stuff is. Again, Leon knows the word for it.
Ectocoola?
Did you say only
Wait.
2 people get it?
Is it the stuff that
So ain't
Is
that
it
the
the-
stuff you got, Ace?
I gave it to Nomad? You mean the stuff that this goo?
Oh no, that's just ectoplasm. We see that all the time. No, this is a part of a soul, kind of.
I don't know. That was so funny to
Was
me.
it? I did.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's ectoplasm. We see that all the time.
Just
I don't
laughing
know why
at
it was so
Vasu
funny.
laughing.
It's just so.
I was gonna say I was also just laughing at Vasu laughing. I wasn't expecting that to be funny.
Sorry, I don't know why it was so funny.
But
Sleep
no,
deprivation.
it is my understanding that the root word is the same, but it was a little over my head. Leon has tried to explain it to all of us for some time. But unfortunately, learning things after our death is much harder than learning things from our life. It does have the word ecto in it, but there's more to it. But to answer your question, each of us can do it to one of you. So, Tomarello, if I can show you how to do it, you should be able to help at least one of these people to continue if they wish to. Oh, right. Yeah, just, fuck me, I guess I'm a ghost now. Who wants my ghost juice?
I think it should go to Gale, and then Gale can catnap us.
I give Gale some cat naps.
I'll suck on that ghost juice.
Alright. It takes a little longer for him. He has to, like, the two of them kind of meet in the middle, and there's a point where Promenos is like, hey, listen, it's gonna be okay. You're fine. And Tomarello kind of cools down.
Get on my knees.
He unzips.
Do you even need to get on your knees,
Hide
though?
for it though.
And
Before I take the ghost juice, I will catnap Vasu, Nordo, and one other person if they want it.
Probably should be
Me.
Flick, since he's our warlock. Or
Yeah, no, it's okay. 4 out of 94 mana is fine.
Someone might need it
Well,
more
if
than.
you didn't
Yeah,
burn
I
it
guess,
all,
I guess like so Vasu and Nordo, you guys
Everyone
already
alive? I'm so sorry.
I'll give it to Nomad. Don't spend it all in one place.
I'm effectively like 30 out of 94 mana. Nomad just uses his more.
Say I could make it one more floor. I'd like to take one of them on the next floor because I'll be out of key and out of rage. But I can make it one more floor without rest.
I could take short rests every place. That would be great. Every floor.
Well, don't burn your mana so quickly.
I
Someone
literally
goes to-
do it to save
Maybe use some
everyone.
cantrips every once in a while, buddy.
I do also every turn. Did you not see what I did that entire time?
How about this one
Literally
goes to
cantrips.
So I will hit. I'll hit Nomad and Vasu and
Bless you.
and Flick.
Wait, one more.
I'm kidding. I like never need to catnap.
Do you even have a short rest?
Oh no, I get mana back, but I'm joking. It literally does not matter for me. I still have
my action surge, so
8 mana left, and that's still like I don't know 4 Hunter's Marks, so I'm good to go.
Yeah. Next floor, I can catnap some more people too.
While you guys are doing the catnap, because it's 10 minutes, Elise will also do a prayer of healing. She'll take one of those, but that's 5 left over that you guys can take.
How long are we planning on hanging out until we move on again?
It's been about 10 minutes so far, but that's kind of up to you guys.
Preferably not too much longer because my Hunter's Marks could go away within the next like 10 to 15 minutes.
Do you even have anything marked?
But I can move. But I can just move it for free, just anything I want.
Oh, I gotcha. I was just saying, if we plan on waiting like maybe another hour and 10 minutes possibly before we go on to the next floor, I'd like to bring Shu back because I kind of miss him. I just miss his little face, kissing him on his stupid little beak, ruffling his feathers. He gets so mad.
I have learned disgust.
That's so great.
Being low on mana makes him more human, it seems.
I have noticed that little character tidbit, and I really like it.
Well, I shouldn't say that out loud.
So we
Like, he's low on mana.
yeah, catnap lets us spend hit dice too, right?
Yep.
Cool.
I will also throw it out. We talked about this being a short session, potentially. It's been 2 hours. Do you guys want to keep going, or do you guys want to wrap it up?
Keep playing forever. Keep playing forever.
It might be a good time to stop. But I'd like to keep going.
I could go for a little longer.
A 2-hour nap before work sounds good. This sounds like it's gonna be a really long dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each floor is going to take us an hour and a half to get through.
All right.
So,
With how many people we have.
With that being the case, anybody that wants to stick around and do a little bit of the roleplay is welcome to. And if you guys want to peek in the next doorway, we can like see what's down there, and then we'll kind of call it when something inevitably happens. But yeah, I'll stick around, and we can keep going for a little bit if people want to hang around and continue either talking to these two or doing some more research. Yeah.
So mostly just because I missed something. So the creature that came here that we were fighting, is it the creature that apparently killed Sam?
So
Surge?
it's a bit strange, and again, I know I've said this a few times, but Leon is the expert. But it's my understanding that the soul is split into different parts. The few that I remember is that there's this blood stuff, and that is not terribly useful to us, but it's very useful to you mortals. It's very similar to ectoplasm, but it's a bit different. It can also sort of crystallize with another part of us to make, basically. I'm trying to remember, Ludwig explained this part, but if you mix that blood with some other part of us, you can make, essentially, skite that can be used to kind of voluntarily enchant a weapon as if it was magical. And I believe...
Use that word.
That word sounds gross.
What, skite?
It just sounds...
Apparently.
What do you guys call
It's
it?
different times now.
No, what do you guys call it then? Stillstone. Oh, that makes sense. Anyway, Ludwig explained that the masks upstairs were somehow made out of all of that, merged with kind of our personality parts. I forget all these technical names. But that if we wanted to, we could at any time sort of imbue our blessing on an item and lend some of our power to it. And just like serving the Phoenix, it is a temporary engagement, although unlike serving the Phoenix, we could pull out at any time. And in fact, several of us have done it. Tamarello, I know that you're new here, but I haven't done either. But I do know that Ludwig himself has served a couple times. I know that Leon has served multiple times. Yes, anyway, the point is that some of these parts can be used to lend our powers to an item. But the bones, and I do remember this clearly, the bones are our memories, our core thoughts, and what we remember about our lives. And this flowy, gassy stuff, and he kind of waves his hand through himself, like digging into his rib cage and like pulling out these little strands. These are apparently what contains a big part of our emotions, and fear is a very large driving factor in those. And as the creep of undeath overtakes a soul that is stuck in one place, fear is typically what grows the strongest, and it can form shades and phantasms, images of the things that troubled a soul in life or in death. As this crypt was dedicated to learning from the deaths of former avatars, I suspect that many of those deeper down will have similar conditions. You will probably be faced with the things that they encountered as they were dying.
Is someone's character like writing all this stuff down? Because Ace has his little fire notebook out, but he can't write on it. He looks very sad.
I was gonna say I count on Ace to write these things down. So
Just gonna
Pretend
well,
Nomad is-
I can remember everything I hear for a while. I guess I'm just gonna take this back to myself later.
my character is for sure not writing this down, but I out of character will write it down.
I feel like we're opposites because my character's writing this down, but I wrote down like 3 things. I was much better at the beginning, but
Canonically, like, Nomad writes everything down on his orb. It just looks like he's doing that weird fortune teller thing where he's, waving his hand over a crystal ball and weird shit's happening to it. But that's him taking notes.
I imagine him as David Bowie in Labyrinth.
Yes, I could see it.
He dropped it a lot. Like, Nomad has probably dropped this thing a lot, and it's gotten much better.
Right.
At contact juggling, I hear it's called.
Somebody did have the mask from the Greatsword, right?
Yeah.
Prominence
I mean-
this mask.
Yeah. Who had that?
Was the only one though.
Gale probably.
Well, so
Yeah, like a 90% chance Gale has it.
I think
Probably.
technically, like all of the masks are with us. We at the end of last episode, we carried every weapon out of that room to free the masks and brought them
Yeah.
with. We just have only identified Promenosis.
We identified a few of them. We also identified the creepy cat bow.
Like, if Vasu is
we all
going to summon Shu, Nomad can... I think Gale can as well, because, like, Gale actually... Does Gale cast Identify for free now? Is that a thing? Artificers? I don't remember.
They have to prepare it at least. And then,
Oh,
do they?
okay.
Are they even ritual casters anymore? What a nightmare.
Or what? Not
Dude.
ritual cast? Are artificers not ritual casters
Yeah.
anymore?
Nah, they've gone back and forth a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, but if we're going to take some time to get Shu back, we can
Oh, wait,
get...
I
I
can't.
mean, we don't have to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we can get 7 masks. Oh, wait, Gale can, right, as well?
They are ritual casters, but I never prepare identify because
Oh, that's fair.
I have very limited spells that I can prepare, and it's
Yeah,
Exactly.
I thought you got it for free, is all.
And wizards do literally get it for free. Like, they don't even have to prepare it.
I mean, I don't need to do it, and because he'd probably like die in the next chamber anyway. But if we want to take the time for it, I would. It's up to you guys.
Time for what?
If it influences your decision, and he kind of looks to Moat and to Ace. Well, he wouldn't know that. Just kidding. Sorry. Carry on.
Oh boy.
Continue.
Do we breathe?
If I take a rest while I'm polymorphed into something, does that end the polymorph? right? Because I break my concentration on it.
Only if you like fall all the way asleep. If you don't fall asleep, then no.
But then you would
but
get
it-
the short rest.
Right, you would get the short rest as the polymorphed creature, which means like the Tyrannosaurus would get hit points back.
Huh. Weird.
Yep.
If I stood in a hot air balloon, I could power the hot air balloon, right?
I mean, you're very hot to the touch. I don't know if it's enough hot air to power a
Well,
balloon.
I mean, I'm heating the air around me, obviously.
Yeah, you could definitely power a certainly small hot air balloon.
Well, like enough for me, like literally like a tiny balloon just for me.
Also, if we turn you into like a paper lantern, you'd like that.
I'd be so pretty.
We need to find something that doesn't burn. Something metal, some maybe leather. I don't know, leather's too heavy.
But yes, so you do see, actually, he kind of recognizes that one of you has got a big armful of these masks. I was like, oh yes, those are the ones that I was telling you about that Ludwig was explaining. And again, he'll be able to explain it all much better than I can, but if I remember correctly, may I?
May you what?
He kind of reaches towards one of the masks, which kind of looks like he recognizes it.
Sure, I guess. Like, we're identifying them anyway after we wake up.
Yeah. With this bit of me restored, I should be able to. And he kind of places a hand on it, and you do see that there is kind of a transfer of energy, and that mask just glows a little brighter than the rest now.
The hidden, the redacted part.
And then he
So we
motions
had
Tomarello over. It's like, if you do the same thing, just focus on the things that you remember about your life. It's going to be difficult. I know that you won't remember a whole lot. But try to focus on something that made you happy, something that made you feel at
Oh
home
my god,
and
we
warm.
unlocked them.
say they have powers that like level up and unlock. So I think this is how we unlock them.
And sure enough, after a little bit of practice, Tomarello talks about how he always dreamed of going to a museum and finding a statue of himself. He thought that would be the coolest thing. And one day, his mom apparently was able to bribe somehow the curator into having one of his drawings hung up in between all of the other portraits. And it was
You'll
one of the
identify those first.
one of the happiest moments of his life. And as he kind of retells this story, you do see that his mask lights up as well and begins to glow a little bit more brightly than the rest.
Oh, great.
And if you're identifying them anyway, then I'll just show you some cards.
Yeah, I'll start with those two, and whichever else I can get.
So I think one we had already identified, so we just unlocked a new feature of it. Because one was Prominus, right?
It was. So the one that he touches first has a new feature unlocked.
That's the earthy one.
Man, I really wish I had a spell gem.
You do. You literally have a spell gem.
But it's only level 2?
Then go buy one.
I want a better spell charm.
If you try to put a higher level spell in it, would it just like downgrade it if it was possible? Like if he had a level 2 spell and he cast it at level 5 because he's a warlock, would it just be a level 2 spell?
No, and I recognize this problem and that it's dumb, because we had a spell storing ring that we couldn't put like 6th level spells into from a warlock. I'll look into it. I do feel like it's a little punishing. I feel like if they really want to, warlock should be able to downcast. I don't know, I'll look into it. I'll see if I can come up with some answer.
To be fair, warlocks can only get up to 5th level. The rest are like 6th level spell slots that they only get in long rest.
Yeah.
Fair.
They should be able to use that if they want to.
I think the whole point is that they can't control the magic because it's not theirs, which is why it's always super high level.
This is the one that you had already identified, but you can see now there is a new aspect of it that has been unlocked, the 4 charges, the thermal consumption. And he also does begin to explain that if he understands correctly, that by connecting my soul with the things that I enjoyed in life, I might be able to, in a sense, undo the ever-reaching crawl of undeath that afflicts everyone who waits here for too long. And as my soul regrows, so too might the power of whatever I am aiding, whatever weapon that I'm putting my energy into. And he begins to tell you some of the things that he enjoyed in life.
just unlocked 1 billion side quests.
I love it.
His
In fact-
favorite food.
Yes.
I'd be
Crockett
just like
wife.
functionally retarded because I've read through the instructions on how this works like 3 times and don't understand it. Can you just describe to me how this works, the charges work?
I can't. And a lot of them are going to be kind of like this, so I apologize in advance. But hopefully they are all simple in action, and I've just written them.
How dare you make
Like,
things
I-
exciting and new and complicated?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I'm sure it makes intuitive sense. I just can't figure it out from reading it.
So the basic idea is on your turn, the first time you smack something, they get a stack of heat. And that stacks up to 3. And the more stacks you put on something, the faster this weapon gains charges. So if something has 1 stack of heat, you get 1 charge. And once you've got 2 stacks of heat on it, you get 2 charges. And once it's up to 3, you get 3 charges per turn. So you want to keep attacking the same thing over and over to build charges quickly on this weapon. And as you build those charges, you can spend them to do these special actions. There's the Entomb action, and then the new thermal consumption action.
Got it. So it gets the charges back each turn, and you get more charges based on having hit the same thing over and over.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. I would very much like to have one of these. We have 10, so I guess I can. I'd very much like to
Nope,
identify
none for
all
you.
of these.
You can't have any.
Nordo thinks that we should, Oh boy, I don't even know what Nordo thinks, but I, out of character,
Do any
think
of these masks
stay
take the
in
form
this
of nunchucks?
exact room and short rest and identify all these masks.
I can get like.
Do a whole short rest?
Yeah, like just stay here for 12 hours, identify these masks, and just actually sleep in this room.
You know, how we're the druids. We have to find out what they're doing.
Yeah, there's that.
Like you can't just leave them out there. So they'll do something.
Yeah.
So
In
we
order-
should talk to them first. At least, right?
Yes.
If they're even still out there.
Well, we have Malna, so.
To be fair, it's only
I-
actually been, what, 20 minutes? But they might,
Yeah.
they might not be out there. They were
I
at
was going to
least
say, it would not surprise me at all if they left her here.
they were there when we got back from the Samson Tamarello Death I'll Brought Mind plane. And then, I don't know if they're...
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, Gale shit talked to them when we got back. Frozen Death. Is this one
Where-
Samson Tamarello?
This is Samson Tamarella.
Where are these ones stored at?
Currently
didn't-
under Enemies in the World, Firebird's Roost, Hall of Faces.
I didn't take him for an edgelord, but wow.
Vasu, what's up?
Just this might be a bit of metagaming, but just kind of on the subject of while we're discussing whether or not to take a short rest here. I did hear Samson or this other guy say something about like waiting might not be a good idea or something like that, right? And then he looked at Moat and Ace. Do I get the feeling as the guy that cast this fiery form on them that like waiting around and hanging around here in this fiery form is not a good idea for these people?
Give me an insight check or a history check. Either one would be appropriate.
Whew, boy. It's probably going to be insight.
Is it possible to do the history for that? Something we're forgetting.
You could give me a history check, sure.
Do you want me to give it insight, or so you can have those people done it?
Good shit, Vasu. So wise. Look at you using that 18 wisdom. I'm so proud.
That's like the third
I'm
one
gonna
today,
use
too.
my inspiration on that.
Okay, excellent. I approve of that.
This seems like an important thing to metagame about.
There we go.
There we go.
Nomad, it seems pertinent to you, first of all, that it's been kind of confirmed, or at least heavily theorized, that each of these trials is going to be related to the way that each of these heroes died. And Vasu, you recognize the same thing, and you also recognize that the next hero died of drowning.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, right. I guess
Hey,
well,
you guys, I kind of like pull Moat and Ace aside. I'll not
literally-
actually touch them because I'm not.
Okay.
I will not actually touch you because I'm not on fire myself anymore. But I'm like, Nauto's over there suggesting that we kind of wait around and have a short rest, and I think that's a great idea because we need at least 3 hours for you and you to attune to this guy. And I point at the shackle that I'm wearing and use to turn everybody into on fire mode. And go ahead and put yourselves out because I get the feeling that if we go into the next room right now, you're both just gonna die like right away.
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable assumption.
So here, I'm gonna take an hour to unattune to this. That's how that works, right? Unfortunately.
I don't think you have to unattune, but we have to unattune from something before we can attune to it.
Gotcha.
Unless,
Don't
unless,
do it at the
unless
same
Feck
time.
is a.
I'm a little more
God.
lenient. I think that having to spend 2 hours to swap is a little bit overkill. What I let you do is if you're already at your attunement cap and you attune to a new thing, it just knocks off the something else from your attunement. So you can spend 1 hour to swap
Okay.
an attunement.
But
Can you
Vasu
choose
doesn't
what
have.
you knock out?
But Vasu doesn't have to like unattune from it. We could just take the attunement from him.
Yeah, no, as long as he's willing, he can just hand it to you. You attune it, and that will end his attunement to it.
Well, how does that work
Yeah,
with
that's
stealing
fine.
items then? If I steal an item from a wizard and I try to attune
They
to
have to
it,
be willingly.
Yeah,
You
willing.
have to play
has to
keep
be
away for
willing.
an hour.
They'll tug back on.
Oh, that's right. It, like
feel their
attune
connection.
items come back to you, don't they?
No, not by
Most of the
default.
time.
They
I,
don't.
No.
I wish. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. Anywho, I will spend the next hour passing this shackle off to probably Moat first, and I don't know if I can attune to something else while this is going on.
I identify all
if-
the masks.
Yeah, I get the feeling we're gonna probably be short resting here, or at least spending a few hours. So I'm gonna let somebody else attune to this, and if I can attune to something at the same time, I'll start attuning to that Bane bracer, and then I'll spend the next hour after that resummoning Shu.
Excellent. Easy enough. There is one thing that I need to do, as you guys spend significant time in here. Gale, I need a wisdom saving throw, please.
Oh no.
Hmm.
Here comes Ozzy.
Nani?
Delightful. There is a point, probably about an hour and a half into this resting process, where Ace, with your true sight, you watch as boop, a little orb just kind of appears in the middle of all of you. And you can recognize the shape of kind of an eye and an iris and a pupil that are pointed right at Gale.
can I run over and just like play cock block?
Uh,
Take my cloak and just literally put it around it so we can't see through.
You know, there was a video that circulated like 2.5 years ago of
Throw a blanket over a fucking scrying
Yeah,
sensor.
exactly. There was a school teacher, and somebody had like thrown a dildo up onto a wall clock in the school cafeteria, and she was like using a blanket to try to stop people from recording it. That's the image that I'm currently getting, except that Ace is like 2.5 feet tall. You
And Gil's head.
like yes, kind of Ace. You can certainly try to do that.
I'm 3 feet tall.
Give me, oh God, what would this even like? I'm just gonna say you do it, and it
Because
has-
you can't move the sensor, right? So it's just stationary wherever it's at.
I forget how I rule it.
circles.
I think it does kind of get to like orbit a little bit.
It follows whoever you're scrying on, so.
Yeah. You know what? It's reasonable. You don't have direct control over it. It's not an arcane eye. I'll say that you're at least able to kind of impose a little bit of a disadvantage. They're not able to directly see Gale, as far as you know. You're able to like
And then I
use a
start
blanket to
to
cover Gale up.
sing real loudly and obnoxiously until it goes away.
Excellent.
Ace, what are you
doing?
doing? What are you singing?
He's having a stroke.
No, let it play out.
And
Does
then
this happen often, Nomad?
No. I like.
Ace, what the fuck are you doing? You're scaring me.
There's a lot of these masks.
There are. This is
There's so many.
there's a little light reading involved here, and I like you guys don't have to sit here and read all
Just
this shit.
like
few paragraphs.
light reading,
Yeah,
only a
let's
few
not-
paragraphs.
If you'd like, I can try to give like a brief synopsis of them.
That sounds like a wonderful idea. I like that idea.
Okay.
And just
If-
how
if-
these
Put
Well,
them
like-
all up though.
like at all.
I will say
if
that,
Ace,
having just glanced at
if-
the like bold and italic like sentence at the start of each kind of explains how it
Yeah,
works.
yeah. The very first bolded sentence is a kind of a very rough synopsis of how it gains charges, at least.
Oh my god, I love distant songs. That is Toklo.
I also love.
Oh, I
distant
found the one
songs.
that's mine.
Which one's yours? I'm curious.
The one that has a. Where'd it go? 1 second.
Dancing Wind is fucking dope. In fact, I feel like you should just read each of these out loud, even if you just read the sentence.
Sure,
just
sure.
So
The
Alright.
weapon gain charges when you obey randomly determined.
Yes,
It
that one-
change from turn to turn.
amazing. That,
Definitely not me.
that one was made for like patches or Toklo.
Alright, Frozen Death. I'm just going to work top and go to the bottom. Frozen Death gains charges when you prey upon isolated victims. You mark a victim every turn by damaging them, and then you collect those charges when somebody damages them again, whether it's you or somebody else. The idea is you
Define isolated, though.
people who are on their own. You're ideally trying to find people who are off on their own, and you punish them for standing on their own.
That means that they have no allies next to them.
So
Correct.
pretty much, I would attack someone really far away and just keep attacking them while they're by themselves.
So that sounds good for somebody ranged, for sure. Pick off like make other rangers and spellcasters in the back.
Yeah, but if they have like a familiar hiding behind them, this doesn't work.
True.
Marching Mountain Blood is the one where you want to focus your fire on one single person to build up heat charges to get them hotter and hotter and hotter. It works best when you attack the same person over and over, and it's got some tools that make that a little bit easier.
That one's pretty
So-
good for Nordo because I
Or
stack,
Vasu.
or Vasu
Yeah.
too, because I stack bleeds on someone by attacking them over and over.
Yeah.
Anyone who attacks
And your multiple
fast-
attacks.
Yeah, lots of attacks. So yeah, I think Vasu or I could use that one well.
Tides of Erasure is kind of a looping time cycle, and while you're at different phases on your period, you're better at either physical or magical damage. It kind of
Flick.
It kind of goes back and forth between making you really good at magic and making you really good at physical damage, and it rewards you when you either stick to that cycle, or when you manipulate the cycle to fit your plan better.
So I could go
Is
for
that-
or Gale, really.
Is that what the compass is based off?
Definitely not me.
It seems similar to the.
Yeah, I guess most of
It's
Gale's magic is like utility. He doesn't do much magic damage.
Yeah, this would be really good for like just to be like crossbow.
Eldritch Blast. Shoot.
Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch
Shoot.
Blast.
Synergizes super well with his compass.
Also, where are these on the handouts?
Inventory and handouts, enemies and world, Firebird's Roost, Hollow Faces.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thank-
Stars Below. This one is all about doing lots of different damage types or healing. Healing counts as a damage type for the purpose of this mask. Every time you do a different kind of damage, you collect a gemstone of a different color. And by having a wide collection of differently colored gemstones, you get extra benefits and it gains charges faster.
Are you telling me that I can be Thanos?
So this one
No,
sounds like
no.
Nomad.
Chromatic orb
nobody
over and
else.
over again.
I'm already purple.
So that sounds like Nomad. I don't know how.
But Nomad doesn't have a
use that.
chin. Can't be Thanos.
I have like tentacles. That's like
He has
10 kids.
so many things.
Tentacles don't count as chins.
Look at this, and he folds them, and they're immediately Thanos like.
It's like a nice collection.
You just tie them all into like into a.
God, that
Not-
actually kind of works. He's the right color. Like, I can see them folded up into like a weird...
Yeah, they have the ridges.
Weird.
They even have the weird
chin.
lines on them too.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Alright.
Draws a mouth.
Is
atop
Nomad
them.
Thanos?
I don't think so.
Um,
He's too skinny.
And he can
Ever-
snap his fingers.
Everbeing is suitable for either damage dealers or healers or people that do both. It can kind of go both ways. The idea is that every time you interact with any creature, whether it's attacking them or healing them or casting a spell on them, you infect them with some spores that could be either helpful or harmful. And if they already have spores, it then pops and spreads to all of the creatures around them. And the idea is that you want to spread these spores all over the battlefield and just get your moldy influence all over everything.
Why'd you have to say moldy influence?
I was gonna say, I really hate the phrase moldy
You're-
influence.
You're also really welcome to reflavor that as flowers or whatever you want. Poison if you feel like it, I don't care. But you know, that's the idea. Is you're basically planting seeds and then
Took-
spreading them.
You're gonna get me
Like
banned. from
that
Twitch,
one
man.
is really good for Vasudeva, who attacks everyone with his opportunity
Yeah.
attack that will spread his
I was,
plague.
I was gonna say that's either great for me or seems good for Elise because she can do like the crowd healing sort of thing too, and also I don't know if that works with like attacks from her spiritual weapon too, but she can target a lot of different things around the map with that too.
Yeah. So the way that these are worded,
Asu.
generally speaking, and I think this is true for literally all of them. It's the first time that you do damage to a thing on a turn is when the effect of these weapons.
So
is
that's
applied.
like any
it's
sort of
so
damage. It's
good
not like
for-
strictly limited to like a weapon attack.
Correct. And if you do something like a fireball, you just get to pick one of the targets, and they're the ones who get, or that's the one who gets the effect
Is it so? You said on a turn, on any turn?
on your turn. Sorry.
Oh, on your. I was gonna say because if it's on a turn, Vasu attacks on everyone's turn
Yeah.
with his opportunity.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
It is-
never stop attacking.
It is worth mentioning there are some things that like. For instance, that Frozen Tide one, you plant the mark on them on your turn, but then anyone can pop it on any turn, so that could be useful. Like, that's something that you can pop outside of your turn. But yeah, that's the idea.
Could I
Well,
like?
it could be good for
use
Vasu too, because he can
blast?
grab stuff while they're alone, while they're moving.
Just
Oh, what was that,
chase you down with my mile of flight speed.
If I like stood in the center of the room and then shot Eldritch Blast in every direction at different rates of distance, that would be. I could theoretically do multiple in the same turn by spreading that out.
Absolutely. The next one is honestly one of the simpler ones. Dancing Wind. Basically, every turn it picks a random direction, and you are incentivized to attack in that direction. And you're especially incentivized to make a ranged attack in that direction, although it does work for melee potentially. So the idea is that if the mask tells you to attack northeast this turn, you really want to position yourself in such a way that you attack northeast, especially if you can do something where there are like multiple enemies directly northeast of you.
That seems
for
good
Gale.
for. So yeah, Gale, one of those two. People who are maybe. It seems like it's good for somebody who's mobile though, so you can like
Yeah,
get
I'm
to where you need to be.
I was
pretty
gonna say, aside
mobile.
from the ranged attack things, this sounds like another one that would be good for Vasu, because I can just
Yeah.
fucking fly to whoever and wherever I want to attack.
I don't know if 15
dash
feet of
and cutting
reach
dash. And
range.
Yeah, I also have like my bonus action dash, so this would be good for me
Yeah.
as well. This is also literally the one that was a bow. It's
Yeah,
old
it's
cat
range.
dancing lady.
He does.
It incentivizes ranged attacks. I feel like someone like this would be good for Ace and
Yeah, Gale
not
or Ace.
Vasu, who just kick. Like I know I kick things from 15 feet away, but it's not technically a ranged attack. I know it's
No.
surprising.
I think your
Also,
range is
Gale's
your.
got squat nimbleness and rides on Toto, so he's pretty damn mobile too when he needs
Very
to be.
true.
Wasn't there one that was though? That one's probably for Gale.
One that was what?
One of these souls was stored inside of a giant wrench, right?
Yes, and that is actually the next one. And it is worth mentioning, none of these was like made with any of you in mind. You guys are welcome to pass these around and see what feels right. Some of them are a little simpler than others, but they're all roughly supposed to be kind of balanced in power, but we'll see how it goes.
They're all attunement. Yeah.
They are all
Yeah,
attuned.
but there's 10 of them in A+, so a couple people get
Throwing these guys in the garbage.
I haven't decided. I may rule that the souls don't want to cooperate with a single person. Maybe. We'll
That
see how it
seems
goes.
perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, we'll see.
Trauma.
Technically, it's
We're
not
gonna
built
give one
into the
to these
description,
anyway,
but we'll
so.
see how it goes. But okay, the Hunting Storm. The idea with the Hunting Storm is that when you attack somebody, a little spark jumps to the nearest creature, and then the next turn you want to chase that person, and then the spark jumps again and again and again. So you're kind of chasing this spark around from creature to creature as it jumps to the next closest target. And then when it runs out of targets to jump to, it does kind of a big zap that hits everybody in that chain.
Bullshit.
cool.
It
Who
seems like
can
it
do
has
that,
to be a ranged person, so you aren't like taking opportunity attacks, chasing the spark around.
Yeah.
So Gale or Ace again. It was a wrench. It feels like it should be Gale.
It gotta be Gale, right?
I feel like both the last one and this one apply to both Ace and Gale. I could see either of them, either of these.
You can see him swapping it back and forth.
I can't
Whatever.
afford an attunement slot.
Yeah, that's the
Listen
big
here,
thing. Why
it's-
are these attunement feck? What the fuck?
Well, you
Because
don't
they're
have to
super
use them.
powerful magical weapons.
You don't have to use them.
Shh.
They're
They're
optional.
not even weapons. They enchant a weapon. Like if I'm already attuned to a weapon, why do I need to attune to a thing that's
If we can find a way to enhance your weapon with this mask
so-
without taking it away,
Right.
away any of your stones, that should
So
be
we,
fine.
we talked about this in the Telegram over the week, Vec, because this is a relevant point for me. I don't want to get rid of my axe and its enchantment, but you basically said like I could put one of these masks in like a bracelet and keep fighting with my axe, but it would still work.
Hmm.
I think like effectively, even if I put this mask into a different item and just keep fighting with the same axe I've always used.
You can't rely on Beck for verbals. You have to send him words because he'll forget.
It's
I sent
true.
words in Telegram.
He did send me words, and I just
Oh,
totally forgot to address them. Let me think that over and see how I feel about it. Like I think the intent is that it kind of becomes your weapon. But with that said, these they effectively take up 18 space, which means even at your current level, you've still got a little room to wiggle some more magical effects in potentially. Let me think it over. It definitely could be put into either a weapon or a spellcasting focus. So if you can afford an attunement slot to a spellcasting focus and a weapon, then by all means that will work.
Can I
Yeah.
put it in the Crescent King?
No, it does have to be a weapon or a
Aw.
spellcasting focus.
It can be a weapon if I use it to run into people. We did that earlier.
Fair.
What?
So if the weapon already has stones in it and it doesn't exceed our maximum when having the mask added to it,
Yeah, in theory, like if your current
You
item
can
only
combine
takes
it.
up 6 space, you could throw this mask on top of it.
Okay.
Granted, there's only I think 6 left over with your current limit, but something like that.
Because like technically, even though I never ever describe it or mention it, Nordo uses a spellcasting focus when he uses his spells. So like, or I guess it would be a druidic focus anyway. I'm wondering if I can put like the Marching Mountain Blood into a druidic focus, have that focus on my person, but keep fighting with my axe and still benefit from the Marching Mountain Blood.
I think that would work. Let me think it over to make sure that doesn't cause any huge problems. But yeah,
that is the question.
Next up though, the Wild Ashes. Wild Ashes is kind of like the Everlife, where the idea is that you want to spread your shit all over. But instead of spreading spores, you're spreading fire, and you don't have to pop them at any point. It's literally just everything you touch gets ashes on it, and you want to have ashes on as many creatures as possible. It's a pretty
remote for sure.
Pretty simple one. You just want to hit a lot of things and spread your ashes around.
Seed.
I just want to set the world on fire.
Exactly. Distant Songs is the one that you guys already found. You get randomly determined orders every turn, and if you follow those orders, you get charges for doing it.
I want to do this one so bad.
It's always optional. You're never penalized for not doing it. It's just that if you do it, you kind of get a little mini goal every turn, and if you happen to do your mini goal, you get charges.
Question.
Yes.
And this is getting real in the weeds. If accomplishing your mini goal requires you to do some stupid action that like doesn't make good sense in combat, do you also get hero?
I think generally, God, I mean, I don't see why not. If you're doing like something that would normally generate a hero point, I feel like that would still generate a hero point. But yeah, I'll look into it. But for the time being, I'll say yeah, it doesn't modify the rules of hero points anyway. And then last of all,
that you're doing something beneficial to yourself, so that negates the hero point thing.
You're right. I need to look into it. For the record, it's been like four weeks. How do we feel about hero points so far?
I like them so far. I don't know if I have like enough of a trial run of them to really get the funky flavor yet, but I feel like I like the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only had one so far, so I haven't really had a chance to play with it.
Okay. I'm still on the fence about them personally. I'm not super sold on them yet. I kind of want to see a little bit more. I just am curious if you guys had thoughts on them.
I will say if I was asked to like pick right now, because it used to be rebound points and became hero points, I think I preferred rebound points.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing actually.
Cool.
It's probably the initiative changing for the rebound points that.
Yeah, the rebound points allowing you to change initiative was nice.
I think it also makes it like, I don't know, it's more evenly spread. Everyone has a chance of being stunned or disabled at some way, but for certain classes it can be more difficult to do something super crazy.
That makes sense.
Speaking as the guy who seems to lose at least one turn of every combat, and also really dislikes to attack or fight, and doesn't seem like I might just not be a creative person. I'm willing to accept that, but I play a monk. Like my big thing is I fly to the thing and then I hit it a lot. I feel like I don't have a whole lot of options other than just like there aren't a lot of cool things that I can do as an action in combat to gain a hero point, but on the other hand, I do get like stunned and paralyzed and crowd controlled a lot. So
I feel you, Vasu. I feel like
I would get more I feel like I would get more rebound points than I do hero points, just as things are ruled. But I like the way that I can use them both about equally so far.
Okay. Counter argument is literally we get hero points when we are CC'd as well.
Right. Yeah, and it is worth mentioning. I very deliberately removed the ability to change your initiative. That is something that I didn't like and will probably never reintroduce. Just because it's added a lot of bookkeeping to initiatives. Yeah.
Another point, you don't have to do anything cool. Nomad literally does the most practical thing. If it's not casting a spell that he doesn't cast a spell, he got a hero point because the rule said he does.
Yeah, and what I want to make sure that I do is I want to allow and encourage people to do weird and creative shit if they feel like it, but I don't ever want people to feel like they're penalized for not having a super creative turn every turn, because sometimes it's nice to just stab things.
Sometimes I also already have a magic item that mandates what I do every turn.
Yeah,
so,
fair.
I've been trying to cut in like for the past 5 minutes, and then
legit.
There's a delay.
That's a very good point.
opinion on it is that I agree that the initial. I think that the things that we can do with hero points are better than the things we could have done with rebound points. But I think the methodology for earning rebound points was better.
That makes sense.
I don't love the. I get the philosophy behind using hero points to like incentivize using your turn to do something like unique and quote unquote funky, but I feel like that's just. I don't feel like it's super duper necessary.
Yeah, but
I'll buy
like
it.
you don't have to, right? It's just an additional thing you kind of get for free.
Okay.
If you don't have anything better to do. I feel like it doesn't really incentivize you to do something cool, but more it doesn't like you don't waste your turn when you can't do anything cool,
Right.
and you're just like, I have to do this practical thing that isn't anything cool.
That's fair.
Well,
But that's
I
what
know.
heroes do sometimes.
I know that
Because
you-
literally, lots of things that I have done have been incredibly uncool and boring.
Yeah, but you've also been one of the people earning the most hero points at the same time.
Exactly, which
because
is
you-
great for
because
me.
you have a lot of variability because you're a wizard.
Right.
Yeah, to say, I feel like it does like disproportionately benefit some classes versus others. Also,
No, because if I were doing wizard things like casting a spell, I do not get hero points. You don't understand.
You have cast points and you have cast spells and got hero points. Though.
That's they
No,
do. That is a valid
it's
point. It
literally-
definitely has happened before, where you like.
Yeah,
use
I
a
don't
spell.
think it's been a spell though. It's something else that I've done that isn't a spell because the hero point it says so in the rules. I do not get like hero points for casting spells.
I'm pretty sure you cast spells in creative ways, and due to the access.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
No, like the most creative thing I've done with a spell in attempt to get a hero point was to make an ice spike with a cantrip, and it didn't get me anything.
yeah, I'm
What
more,
you're thinking
with
of
a
me
cantrip.
doing is, here's the thing that you remember me doing with my hero points is, at the end of my turn, I use one to cast a cantrip. That's it. That's me casting spells.
No, I mean, we were talking about earning, not.
Yeah,
not
I don't
using.
think I've literally earned any hero points by
you
casting
have it,
spells.
and I have too. Not from spells, but from
Yeah.
like I've gained hero points from making an attack action on my turn in a way that was like literally optimal for me, like shoving a creature into lava that did way more damage than an actual attack would do.
Right.
So I don't know. I am of the opinion that like doing something cool and funky on your turn is just part of playing Dungeons and Dragons. Just do it and smile about it, and let's
Legit.
move on. I don't
And
think it
maybe
needs to be incentivized.
That's fair.
And maybe I should just be
And
relying
again,
more on
I
inspiration, which is what it was built to do anyway.
And again, I feel like a bit of that comes back to like creative uses of your class's abilities and stuff. And I might just not have that, or maybe I just built a class that it's really hard to think of creative things, or like it's like, why would I try to do something funky when I have 120 fucking feet of flight of movement and 4 attacks every turn? Like I can be anywhere and punch anyone I want on every
Yeah,
given
at that
turn.
point,
Why would
you
I
don't
not?
really need a hero point, I guess.
Right.
You're
Yeah,
very
but you
heroic.
still feel whether or not.
But I
Which
want to
you-
have them.
Right,
Exactly.
you feel penalized. You feel like you
Yeah,
don't have
you
the
feel
opportunity to get something other people
Like-
have.
How the most I've stacked on hero points, I think, was mostly from steering a ship. Like just standing there and steering a ship. They're like, hey, I didn't do anything on my turn. Can I get a hero point?
Right.
The, so
Go
the rule says, and I quote, using the attack action or the cast a spell action in an unusual and flavorful manner
Unusual, yeah.
might count as doing something funky. And I would argue that it is exponentially easier to cast a spell in an unusual and flavorful manner
Right.
than it is to make an attack action.
Yeah.
Like there's only
Yeah,
so
I have-
flavorful
I
you
have
can
2
get with an attack.
spells. I have 2 spells, Nomad.
Right.
It's objectively easier to be cool and flavorful with spells than it is with attacks.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
but
dig it.
I also
have
don't
2
think I've
spells,
done
and
anything
both
creative
of
with
them
the
are
spells I've cast.
almost inarguably offensive spells, because it's like I can create a volcano, and I can do Hamar's grip, and those are my spells.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't know how to do
also-
I will
I
say-
don't know how to do creative non-fighty things with those.
Yeah.
Ace.
Anyway, about this last math.
Real quick, Ace, what's up?
Yeah, I will say that I did think it was really cool and it was fun. I just feel like after a while, I kind of like the stuff. So I do think that it was really cool, and I'm happy that you made the system.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Happy to test it.
I'll probably let it run a little longer just because I know we all said at the start that maybe we want to see a little more of it in action before we make a decision. But this is good feedback. It kind of echoes a lot of what I'm feeling too. I feel like maybe it kind of, I don't know, I'm just a little uncertain about it, and it's good to hear that everybody else is kind of still figuring it out too. But anyway, the last mask. And also, if anybody else had any thoughts and couldn't jump in, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll hear him out before we
I'm just going to rant to all of you a little bit more. My TLDR about this is that I like the hero point system. I like its takeaway. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at it about thinking of creative things to do. Or maybe I'm just getting hero points because I'm getting CC'd. But like, I'm trying to do more about like not using my main action. And there are a lot of things that I could do with a main action or attack action or spell action with Vasu that could be cool or funky things, and then I could just go into Tunnel Fighter anyway. So I am sorry for bitching about it so much. I probably just need to get good and
You're totally
do better things anyway.
And I do want to like kind of conclude by emphasizing once again, the goal was never to like make it feel like you were a bad player for not constantly doing creative things. It's just I wanted you to not feel like you were missing out on a reasonable, sensible action when you did want to do something cool. But maybe this is not the right way to do it.
I'm of the opinion that deciding you want to do something cool and narrative and maybe not ideal is its own reward. And maybe I'm just being a little bit of a softy, but I feel like that's
being perfectly reasonable, and that's how it should be.
Legit.
Agreed.
I like it.
I'm kind of on the fence about that because I agree with that. But I also do like the incentive of using hero points. But also, this is a weird character to test it out on because I built this character centrally around the idea of being able to fly anywhere and attack everything all the time. And Vasu is very good at it.
Yeah, I did something similar where I made a character
I'm just kind of like on a one-track mind with him. And I need to branch out more and not just do fly here and hit spear times.
I feel like Vasu and Ace are like opposites. You fly all around the place and hit everything. I stay in one spot and hit everything.
Yeah, and honestly, those are the characters I love playing most in combat. Like Ace is basically Philo, the first character I played in 5e. Like, just like I'm gonna be over here, and you have no chance of shooting me back because I'm doing it from 300 feet away, 3 times a turn, and just look at all that damage. I love that.
All right. Folded nothing. I'm cutting in because I know we are already trying to go kind of short. And if anybody has to bounce, feel free to bounce. There's nothing super important going on. But the Folded Nothing is the last mask. It's the one that is most complicated on paper, and I apologize. I know it looks complicated on paper, but it's not too hard. The idea is that every time that you damage something, it makes a little rune wherever the thing is that you damage. So if you smack something right here, it puts a rune there, and then you put a rune over here, and then you put a rune over here, and then you can use its abilities to do cool shit inside of the area of that rune, or to teleport from one spot on that rune to the other. And kind of like, like jump from one and make an attack and then jump back. In addition,
real cool.
Well, actually, I won't spoil the later things, but where you place the runes becomes later or important for some of the later abilities.
I feel like that one's good for Moat, actually.
I was kind of just thinking maybe the same thing, actually.
I feel like it's good for like melee without great mobility, and Nordo.
Yeah,
it's really
reading the Ash one, and I was like, I can hit like one thing, and I have like 2 feet of movement.
I'll tell you who this Folded Nothing is great for. Odell.
Okay, that was rude.
So here's my hot take. I think that Marching Mountain Blood is the only one of these that's actually good for me, and Distant Songs is the one that I want. But I should probably take Marching Mountain Blood.
You're also not locked in. They're willing to.
Yeah.
To have a tryst.
Presumably, we have to like convince these souls to help us to begin with, because like it says with the souls' cooperation, you can put it into an item.
Accurate.
That crazy old woman who's the wizard. She's probably gonna be difficult.
Claudia Vargas. She's the oldest one. We've got to get down to her. She interests me a lot.
I just want to have Nomad and her talk to each other all the time.
Oh, we're talking to each other constantly.
Yes, I'm right here. We can talk anytime.
Oh, I love good company and conversation. Aliens?
Who said anything about aliens?
Aliens are delicious.
All right, gentlemen.
Can Sal be a mask too?
Head out.
For sure. And I will throw up a thing. I know that it's been a long time since we've taken a break. I don't want to get burnt out. I'll post a thing in the chat about possibly taking next week off to just kind of recuperate and relax, because frankly, I think 2/3 of this group has gotten into 2 new campaigns in the past 2 weeks. And there's just been a lot of D&D happening, and I think we kind of need a breather. But
I haven't taken on any new campaigns, but I've been working so much lately, and like all of my days off have been exclusively almost used to play D&D in like the last 3 weeks. So I'd like some time
legit.
off, I think.
I'm in the same boat as like Frisk and Zeke, where I could play all day, every day, and never get tired of it.
Can confirm.
Yeah. So we'll talk it over and decide what we want to do. I just know that at the very least, it feels better to have like a planned week off than to kind of decide at the last second that we're not feeling it.
That's very fair.
Nomad Nordo one shot.
Hell yeah, let's
I would
do
love
it.
to.
Hell yeah,
What
let's
do we
do
even
it.
do?
We're going to go
I ship
somewhere
it.
you've never gone before.
They're gonna go
Inside-
shopping together.
To read.
Inside your
Things
Weirdly-
we do every night, dear Nordo.
Weirdly, even though I feel like Nordo and Nomad have one of the like closest relationships in the party, I can't think of one single thing we would do together on an adventure that like it wouldn't feel like. I feel like there's no adventure that involves both Nordo and Nomad.
I think it'd be like the party is busy and you guys aren't doing what the party's doing, so you're like, I guess we'll just like hang out today. Let's go to the marketplace, and then shenanigans
Yeah.
happens.
It would just be some RP, I think, because I feel like Nordo and
Yeah.
Nomad's like plots are utterly disconnected from each other at the moment.
Right? Oh, it's like, do you want to kill the slavers now? Let's do
I'd
it.
like to go kill slavers. What are you trying to find
Yeah.
out about some giant computer brain that's storing souls?
Absolutely. Let's store the slavers.